is only one of my honorable mentions. So all I can say is don't get butthurt and deal with it. um, yeah, if you wanna throw yours down at the end or as it comes up, um, feel free. But hold on, I'm brain farting right now. I'm gonna do this over there. I'm gonna put this over here. Oh, hi, Max dashboard. There would be no point in doing this if you just picked the photo. Well, like not even that. I'm like there's games that were like maybe they did get game of the year, maybe not, but they're like clutch games, and I was just like meh. So we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. But uh, so when you said Mike disappeared, y'all were talking about the microphone going away, not just the camera disappearing. Sorry about that. If it makes you feel better, a lot of that was me just saying because I was trying to bring up footage. Um, so here's the 2010 slide, obviously now. And my top personal favorite game of that year was God of War 3. But I was just saying what I'm gonna do is just bring up like some muted gameplay of my top game, and really just like the only thing is really talk about why I liked it, and if you guys want to discuss as well, you can. If you don't, then don't. And I'm just waiting for the ad to get through. That's the reason I hadn't switched back really. But then I figure I'll brush over the honorable mentions as well. Come on, hey, there's the commercial. 2 games from this year on my top 10. Nice. You'll have to let me know what they were. All right, so God of War 3. I this was really the one that like pulled me into the series, I guess. Um, I've always liked the games or even like movies or books or whatever that can take like these old mythological settings and everything and incorporate them really well. Um, and like I'm not a huge history nerd or mythology nerd or anything like that, but like I can appreciate it and I can enjoy it. And the way they basically took all of the ancient gods and like boned Kratos right into the middle of it, I always loved it every single game. But for me, this is the one that really sucked me into the series. I just felt like it was really cinematic. The story was really well done, considering it's just your trash mob boss fight hack and slash. Um, and it was really cool. I liked all the gods that you got to encounter. I mean, this kind of a game, it's I've always felt like it's about the boss fights, and that's very obvious. I mean, it's the same thing. No one's gonna play Dark Souls and be like, "Oh, you remember that like one random mob of people that you fight in this cave? Best part of the game." Like, no one's gonna say that about the random generic enemies in God of War. Um, Screw the final fight. What was the final fight? I can't remember it off the top of my head. I know my favorite fight of this one was. I wonder if I can click to it in the video. Was the water horse shit with Poseidon? I think it was. Oh, where the fuck was it? It was at the beginning, wasn't it? I swear it was back at the beginning. Zeus on top of Olympus. I'm trying to remember. But I mean, hold on. I can just fucking click to it, I guess. Let's see. Let me see this for a moment. Maybe I can remember. No, come on. Give me bits of the fight. Am I missing it? Hold on. I'll get it, I promise. 2D fighter sequence in Olympus. Yup. I I think my favorite dumb thing from this game was the Guitar Hero puzzle. That was so stupid. Hi Millie, how you doing? Happy almost New Year. Alright, am I not hitting the fight? Am I not hitting the fight? Did I fuck this up? Any game with a QTE ending is bullshit in my opinion. But like this one was enjoyable enough to make up for it for me. I love too how I can't. It's been a long time since I played it, so I apologize if I'm derping. I can't remember if it was all of them or just some of them, but I liked that you got like the first person perspective from the god when Kratos was killing them. Yeah, that's right. Because God of War relied a lot on like the mashy button QTEs. I remember now. But yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. This is honestly, it's probably other than the newest one, the only other God of War game that I would love to go back and replay, which I might do sometime. Yeah, like I said, it obviously it wasn't perfect, and it's not going to be some super over the top amazing gameplay game because it's just your run of the mill hack and slash, but I liked it and it was a lot of fun. Did any of you guys other than Kev play God of War 3? Have any thoughts or feelings on it? I want to see if I can find that fucking Poseidon fight now. Ooh, ha! Here we go. Yeah, this was my favorite fight of this game. Yeah, and like that's totally acceptable. Like I can appreciate hack and slash, but 99% of the time I'm only going to play it once. So, like for me to say that I would replay this one or like a couple of the Devil May Cry games come to mind, it really says something cuz you spend the whole game just hitting, alternating light attack, strong attack, and hoping you can do what you can do to kill them. Yeah. And then so for my other games from the year, actually, you know what? Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna get this. I might as well get this gameplay capture thrown up on here too while we talk about the honorables. Here, you know what? We'll do this. I'll put this over the game like this. And then I can hide it until we capture it. There. So obviously Alan Wake and Splinter Cell, you guys, you know me well enough to know I fucking love those games. Alan Wake, I pretty much I was in the mindset of going to force myself to like it because it was the first game that I had heard of connecting something with like Stephen King, and it was just like a quote from Stephen King. I can't remember the quote off the top of my head, and it's like one of the first lines Alan says in the game too. But I'm a huge Stephen King nerd. I've probably mentioned that a million times too. So like reading that in that Game Informer article where they first started talking about Alan Wake, I was like, "Yep, I'm hooked. Let's get this game out now." Conviction, probably like my second favorite Splinter Cell game, just because of they changed a lot about it, and I felt like they had reason to, because the whole reason for Conviction is in the previous game, Sam's daughter, he's told that she gets killed while he's on a mission. And then come to find out in the opening area of Conviction that she was taken basically by our government and hidden so they could fake her death, so they could trick Sam into joining the terrorist group that he joined in Double Agent, to get inside their network. And so it's him going rogue and basically being like, "Fuck you, give me my daughter back." So like he's brutal. That's where they introduce the mark and execute, and you can just like pop 4 fucking people in a row. And it's perfectly legit. You don't have to be stealthy. You can be stealthy, but you don't have to be. But then like it was really memey too, because Ubisoft took cut some corners with the taunting from some of the AI, and there's some shit that goes down in an airfield in one of the missions. And like from there to the end of the game, if you get detected and go into hiding, while the terrorists are trying to find you, they're constantly just being like, "Remember the airfield, Fisher." And it's so stupid. Like there's an old Penny Arcade comic that my buddy Mike had shared with me. They kind of memed on that on top of it, and it's ridiculous, but it's so true. It's so true. I'll if I ever stream that, I'll have to point it out to you guys. Heavy Rain was my first Quantic Dream game. I missed all the ones before it. No, not all the ones. There wasn't that many. There still isn't that many. So it was just a really cool introduction to the whole cinematic gaming experience. Obviously, there's other companies doing it now. There's been further Quantic Dream games. And I've played a few of them now. But I really liked Heavy Rain. It was really cool. The only downside to Heavy Rain was, and it's the one complaint I've heard about the game from most of the people that play it, is the ending is the same no matter what options you take throughout the game. Like no matter what things you succeed in, no matter what things you fail in, it's always the same person that ends up being the killer. And I feel like that would have been a really cool part of the game to leave open, because there's parts of it where they are very, very strongly hinting at specific other player characters, because you play as like 4 different people through the game, and they like hint very strongly that any one of them could be the killer, but no matter how you play it out, it's always the same person that ends up being the killer, and it's kind of upsetting. It makes sense from like a storytelling point, but it would have been cool to have that be like open-ended. Nier is a game that I have played and I have not finished, and it's just really cool. I like the size of the game. I like the setting and just like the world it created. The fighting is a lot of fun. The combat's a lot of fun. The exploration is pretty cool. And it's just it's one of those, big games that's just easy to get lost into. And then Rock Band 3, I just liked how they expanded to the keyboard. I think that was the game that they started doing the pro instruments too. I never got to play the pro instruments. I really wanted to. I still want to, but now they don't make them anymore, so they're all expensive as shit. But it was really cool because going through school and stuff, and I've played guitar since I was in like 6th grade. So 20 years now. Um, so it was very easy for me when I got introduced to Guitar Hero to jump into playing on expert level and not having much of an issue once I got used to reading the the buttons coming at me. But keyboard was always something that I wanted to pick up, and that was a really cool way to try to introduce it because you could have it shrink down to like only playing the 5 colored buttons, or you could expand it and use the whole keyboard part. And they even like had keyboard lessons through the game, so it was really cool. Um, but yeah, so that was my 2010. Kev, you said you had a couple of your games were from 2010. What you got? Let me lay it on me. I want to know what you got there. One second, I'm checking another tab. Red Dead and Mass Effect 2. Did the first one come out in 2010? I thought it was. I thought it was later. I thought it was 11. No, it was 10. I missed that one. May of 2010. That's fair. I don't think I would have had it as an honorable mention. Um, even I would have my worry about that would have been being biased and comparing it to the second one, and like even pulling that aside, like it was a fun game. It wasn't anything that I got like lost in. Even when I first like my first time playing that game, I got super bored of it. Um, I didn't get very far into the game, and I was just like, meh. Like I tried spending time doing all the mini games, and I couldn't even get sucked into those. So, Mass Effect 2 though was like this close to being one of my mentions. Yeah, no, the first one doesn't hold up so well a decade later. Like for me, I would say pick the first one because it did the Western storytelling justice and kind of cracked the seal on the book. It did. It definitely did do the Western storytelling well. But at the same time, I remember my first impression being that like literally this is just a slowed down GTA. Um, because you're either on foot or on the horse instead of getting fucking fly or take a car. Um, so it just felt like GTA hitting a curb. Whereas comparing it to the second one, like the second one is massively different. Um, I'm not telling you where, but Red Dead 2 did make my list for that year. So don't worry, that one's there. um, it is slower in the essence of storytelling, and I think that helped the second one more. Um, I'm saying for me, and I'm not. This is not me trying to like convince you to see it my way. I'm just explaining my side. Um, the first one felt like the entire world, every single aspect of it, was like I said, just a slowed down GTA. Like I felt like the gunfighting was slowed down. Like I don't know, it felt like GTA going through molasses, and I couldn't get into it. And even now, having played it, like I can only say that I'm happy I played it before I played the second, just to get Marston's story. But it still didn't leave a huge impression on me. Oh, hold on. Can I hold on? I want to see if I can click forward to the. I remember in God of War 3, um, when you fight Hades, the lighting is fucking gorgeous. If I knew exactly where it was to click to it, I would click to it right now. If I can quick scan it, I will. I think that was it. Nope. Yeah, whatever. But I remember loving the lighting in that fight. So, all right. So that is 2010. On to Mass Effect 2 unless because it's easily the best ever. Yeah, no, Mass Effect 2 was amazing. Um, it is. It is definitely one of their keystone titles. But yeah, no, I don't know. I liked 2. I loved 3 except for the ending. But moving on to 2011. Is it really a surprise that my top game for the year was Witcher 2? Like, out of all the shit that came out that year, come on. I didn't experience Witcher 2 until recently. Like, this past year recently. When I'm trying to get the gameplay footage to a good place. Wouldn't mind getting. There we go. Hold on. I think we're coming up on the fucking Kraken boss fight. Oh, hey, I didn't full screen it either. You go there. You go away. Yeah, no, I played it earlier this year, and it was my third attempt at starting it. The first time I ever started this game, I did not do RPGs at all. Around that time, I was playing a lot of Call of Duty. So I had, shooter mentality in mind, super fast pace. And then to go from that into this was kind of like I was just saying with Red Dead, going from GTA into Red Dead. Everything slowed down, and I was like, I can't do this. But also when I first started playing this, I wasn't much into reading like I am now. Since then, I have obviously massively expanded my love of reading. And then from that, the whole loving of just the depth of stories in games is where that really, really grew from. I'm going to assume this friend request as well. Maybe. So this was a game that always stuck in the back of my mind because I knew it came from the stories in the books, and that the game wasn't a telling of those books and stories, that it was an expansion past them. And I haven't read all of the Witcher stuff. I did way back read, I think, a few of one of the short story collections, a few stories from it, and it just it struck a note with me, and it always stayed with me. So Witcher 2 became like, you ever have like a thing that, like, for whatever reason you can't do it, like whether it's like money keeping you from it, or like not having enough time, or for whatever reason not having like the desire or the energy or whatever, just something's keeping you from doing a specific thing, but you hold on to it and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this thing someday, one day, when I get the time. And like Witcher 2 was that thing for me. And I tried it again a few years ago. I want to say about, probably within the first year after Janelle and I moved in here. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't like playing it on the Xbox with the controller. And so then when I finally built the PC up a little bit where it could handle something like this, I was like, I need Witcher 2 on PC. Let's do this shit. And it went on sale, and I grabbed it, and fucking loved it. But then I didn't have the time to play it. And so then finally, earlier this year, thanks to the lovely, beautiful Jameem and him playing it and streaming it, I was like, I need to play this game. And so yeah. So I wrote it out. I played it to the end. I didn't do as much exploring, because that part, I don't know why, I wanted to do it, And I definitely I know I'm gonna replay it again. Um, Definitely not gonna guess my game for the year. Let me. I may ask for a hint when we get there. I may ask for some sort of a hint. um, but yeah, no, I loved it. And I'm very glad that like I said, I held on to it in the back of my mind and I kept being persistent about it. Um, it's definitely a game I would play again. I want to play Witcher 3 first, and I finally picked that up on PC, and I'm probably gonna play that on my own. Just because I still feel like it's gonna be a bit before I have an open enough stream schedule to warrant playing a game like Witcher 3 on stream. So until then, I don't want to, because I think forcing myself to play it in smaller bursts than it deserves is going to make me hate the game, and it's not a game I want to hate. So I apologize that my initial playthrough of Witcher 3 is not going to be for your amusement, but when Jamie plays it, you can watch him play it, and we can be amused by that. But yeah, Witcher 2. I know, obviously, I feel like Jamie could, like, take over for, like, an hour and just, like, wordgasm about this game. I know you love this game. Death March spanked me. Anybody else have any playtime with Witcher 2? Happy memories, sad memories, angry memories, annoyed memories, anything? I think the worst, the one part where I almost, like, gave up in this game was where you're in, like, a cave system and you're trying to get the memory stones, and there's fucking harpies everywhere. And that was, like, the first time I'd ever really run into an issue with not having enough healing items. And I was getting so frustrated. I shut the game off for, like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. And then, like, I finally went back to it and I was like, fuck it, these harpies are dying right now. I don't fucking care. And they did. And then I finished the game. Got about a third of the game done on permadeath. I remember. That's right. You wanted to permadeath this game. Obviously not with the death part so much, but. Kev, did you ever get to try Witcher 2? No? I couldn't remember if you'd ever, I know you used to have a PS3. I couldn't remember if you ever had a 362. I don't know why. I felt like you did. This fight here though with the Karen, it was so much fun. It was fun after I figured out how to do it. I generally, especially in boss fights, when there are characters shouting things, I tend to ignore them because my mind goes, "Hey, that's just basically bullshit flavor text. You don't need to pay attention." And I don't even remember how many times I died to this before I looked at what she was saying and I was like, "Oh, you're actually helping me right now." One of the worst telegraph fights I've ever done. But it was exactly. No, it wasn't even the boss that was saying it. Like, you have some, like, sorceress with you. I can't remember her name. Jamie probably does. But, like, you basically have to, like, I don't want to give away the strat, but it's one of those things of, like, do I even bother not giving it away? Because if you pay attention to what she's saying, it's given away anyways. There you go. There's the name. Told you Jamie would have it. But no, that's what I'm saying. Is like I obviously I understand now there was an audio hint meant to help me, but in the past that's never really been a thing. It's just always been somebody bitching and crying and moaning. But yeah, no, I'm glad I paid attention to her. This was almost a rage quit moment for me too. But yeah, so that is my top game for 2011. And my other mentions for the year. I feel like the mentions aren't even surprises either. Um, I know I haven't finished it, but obviously the first Dark Souls, like, it's. I feel like it's the epitome of the game that you love to hate and hate to love. Press X to doubt. Nope, you cannot press X to doubt here. You either gotta believe me or present your evidence that I am lying. Doubt is not an option. But yeah, no, Dark Souls obviously like is great. Um, I put the first Dark Souls there because in my mind, it covers 1, 2, and 3 for the years that they come out because it's just it's Dark Souls. Like you really don't have to explain it any further. But as you both very well know, that is a series that I dipped my toes all around to find the one thing that would make me fully love it, and I'm glad I finally did, and that I'm committing to playing all of them eventually. Um, you guys saw me stream Deus Ex. Uh, I liked it because you pretty much had full control. And I love games that give you that fullness of control. Instead of like forcing you to be stealthy here and forcing you to get into massive gunfights here, like you can sneak through the buildings all you want, you can slap face all you want. What do you want to do? And the whole merging of humans and mechs and everything. It was a really cool setting. Um, yeah, I loved all the abilities that you could get with him. It was a really fun game. Obviously LA Noir with Kev memeing in chat. I'm a puzzle freak. I love anything puzzly, and to get a fucking old LA setting detective game, like what else can you ask for? That, in my opinion, is like Rockstar's best storytelling. Because instead of getting the one massive story, like in Red Dead, like I loved how it was all broken down, and you got the little stories with each case. And I'm so fucking glad I streamed that and with you guys, because that was fucking amusing as hell. So the story of Pedro, and I forget the names. Oh, wasn't it Juan and Steve? I feel like it was Juan and Steve. I feel like there was a Juan in there at least. I know one was a Steve. I just can't remember the other one. Was it Juan and Steve? See, it's right there. It's always there. It's always there. Juan Pedro. But no, getting to experience that game with you guys made it like even better. All the stupid shit that happened in that game. I still remember the whole fucking thing of like, he was like the partner was trying to like insinuate something by the guy's shoe size. Like there was just so many good fucking memories from that game, and they would have all been missed if I played that on my own. So thank you all for being there for that one. That was a good one. Arkham City, uh, to bring what they did with Arkham Asylum out into a more open world and get you like let you do whatever you want to do. That was like the icing on the cake for everything for me. It was so cool to be in that city, to do whatever the fuck you wanted to do. All the Riddler puzzles that were everywhere. I really want to go back one day. Maybe I'll do it on stream, maybe not. But I do want to go back and actually do all the Riddler stuff in that game. I know you guys a couple years ago saw me one shot Asylum, so I do want to stream City and Night at some point too. Um, But my favorite thing about that one was probably just the villains that they brought in. Because they brought some back from Asylum in really cool ways, and I loved the new ones that they brought in. Like the fact that they brought Freeze into Arkham City sold it for me. What about Origins? I mean, I like Origins. I know not many people do. Um, I feel like if I streamed Origins, I would just get people coming into chat talking about how shitty it is, and I'm just not sure if I want to deal with that. I would consider it, but it's not the best game. It's not my favorite of the series. It's my least favorite of the series, but I don't hate it. There were some weird choices with it for sure. Um, I will leave that for Origins. But yeah, yeah, Origins was a game. It was a game. And then to cap off my honorable mentions for 2011 Skylanders, uh, it's obviously run its course by now, but they really did a good job with the toys to life thing. Um, I when I first threw that on for me and Janelle to mess around with, I expected it to be horrible and basically broken, but everything worked so well. The toys and like the way you could use them in the game and everything was just really well done. And again, obviously the whole toys to life gaming genre is kind of dead by now, but Skylanders did it really well. I think Disney Infinity would have taken them, but the fact that like you needed so many pieces just to play certain portions of the game, whereas you could literally get one Skylander figure and play the entire fucking game. Like you wouldn't be able to 100% it, but if you just wanted to play the levels beginning to end, just pick up one character. You're good to go. So, but hey, Disney oversight never. Kev, give me the hint for your 2011. What you got, boo boo? It's the one game Microsoft shouldn't be able to ruin. Uh, I'm trying to think. What did they have that came out that year? Or what do they have now that came out that year? Hold on. Give me a second. I got nothing. Give it to me. What you got? Did Minecraft come out that year? It did. Okay. Okay. That's right. Yeah. That was. I mean, you guys know my feelings on Minecraft. um, Minecraft is a game. It is. It is definitely a game. Oh, it did. And like I said, like I totally get looking at it from that standpoint. Um, I couldn't. I don't know. Like I said, I wanted my top 10 to be my personal experiences with these games. Unraveled is such a good game. It's so good. Oh, it is. It is. It's an easy way to fucking. There's so many ways you could implement that in an education way. Um, like me not liking it doesn't change the fact that it's done so much and can do so much. It won't make me want to play it anymore, but I can definitely understand and respect the influence that it's had in the world as a whole. All right, moving on. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by my 2012 game of the year. Dishonored. Like, it's such a good game. It's such a good game. Um, this was one that, again, I was sold on it before it came out. Um, oddly enough, maybe not oddly enough, but oh, sorry. Um, didn't have a game maker from this year too. Well, you did honorable mentions too. Fucking cheater. No, just kidding. No, my buddy Mike is the one that had looked more into this game before it came out and had told me about it. And he's the one that, I used to play Assassin's Creed with all the time. We'd have our Halo days. Like, me and him had a very similar taste in games. So he was always and still always is one of the people that if he mentions a game to me, like, I know there's a reason. And actually, it's funny because when I went to school with him, me and him weren't that close. Like, we knew each other and, we existed in the same building and whatnot. But only had 7 total, though, not 50. Listen, go fuck yourself, okay? But then we drifted apart after middle school. Kind of got back in touch in high school and, like, became friends and, like, talked more. And then, like, a year and a half after high school, no, not even 4 fucking years, because it was when Conviction came out. That was, like, the one thing we had in common through school was we both liked Splinter Cell. And he remembered that, and when Conviction came out and there was the whole co-op story to play through, he was like, yo, like, messaged me completely out of the blue. Hadn't talked to him in, like, 3 or 4 or 5 years. And he was like, yo, you getting Conviction? We got to play together. I was like, hi, long time. Yes, we do. And, like, we've been really, really close friends ever since then. So, when he mentioned this to me, I was like, all right, it's on my radar now. I loved, again, it's going to be a reason that I like most of the games that I ever mention, whether it's on this top 10 or something else. It's just, I love having full control. Like, let me be stealthy if I want to be stealthy. Let me slaughter everybody if I want to slaughter everybody. And I loved that about this game, because you didn't have to do it. There was options for doing everything. You could kill all of your targets, or you could, find ways to take them out quietly. Like, one of the guys in one of the earlier missions, like, you can either assassinate him or, like, play some of his fucking, secret Snoopy Snoop shit and get him arrested. Like, I loved how open it was, and that the only real, like, persuasion about it was like, hey, excuse me, they were basically like, hey, there's a whole bunch of rats, and the rats are bad. The rats can kill you. So if you kill a lot of people, there's going to be more rats to deal with. So if you don't want more rats to deal with, don't kill people. But it wasn't, like, forced. It wasn't like, hey, go through here and kill 6 people. And the abilities were fun in this one. Like, my first playthrough with this, I got as many abilities as I could, and I got fancy with them everywhere I could. Now, anytime I go back to this game, I only ever fuck with the blink. Like, I think, I'm trying to think. I think there's one other one that I usually end up equipping, that, like, turns the bodies into ash when you kill them, if you kill them completely hidden. And I'll throw that one on just because, it's nice. But otherwise, I'll just fucking blink through this game, and it's so much fun. And yeah, it's a really cool game. It's the openness is what really sells me on it. And it's a series that I'll go back to all the time. I still have to play the newest one, the third one, the Death of the Outsider. But yeah, love Dishonored. I would go back to this game a million times. And then ringing in the rest of the year. That was the year that the PlayStation Move launched for the PS3. So Sorcery is on there because of that. Because like obviously when Sony announced they were doing the whole motion controller thing, they were gonna do similar shit to the Wii. Sorcery really showed off how well it worked in comparison because the Wii stuff was just, motion captured through the controller. You could trick it to make it, think you did a full fucking powered golf swing and with just a simple flick of the wrist. But like, the ball on the Move controller got tracked to the camera, and it was like all triangulated and shit. So like, you had to actually move. But Sorcery really showed off how well it did with aiming detection, because you could like flick. You had to like flick it to cast your spells, and it would like read exactly where you wanted them to go in respect to like where you were aiming on the screen and stuff. And it wasn't one of those like, oh, you got it in the general area. Like, it was spot on every time. And that is a really fun game, and that is one that I would love to find a way to get a way to stream the Move stuff. Hotline Miami, it's one of the few indie games that I have mentioned through this whole thing, and it's ridiculous, but it's also one of those like bit style indie games that's just so over the top and so ridiculous that you can't not talk about it. And if you've seen it played, if you've played it for yourself, even for like 2 minutes, like, it's good. And it's over the top. It's just so ridiculous, so much fun. Like I said before, Mass Effect 3. If you've heard me mention Mass Effect 3 before, you've probably heard me complain about the ending. You probably heard anybody who talks about Mass Effect 3 complain about the ending. With all that bullshit aside, and I'm not even talking about the thing that everybody usually bitches about with, they promised from the first one that all your choices would matter in the end, and then it just comes down to pick your favorite color. Like, not even that. Like, the whole conversation at the end with the little Catalyst kid telling you that, you'll never be able to get these two warring races of aliens to make peace with each other. And you've just spent the entire fucking game doing that. You've succeeded in doing that. And then he tells you can't do it. All that bullshit aside, it is such a great game. It was the only Mass Effect that I actually found myself getting lost in. The first one, I just wanted to get to the end. I just wanted to see the story. The second one, I had a little bit of fun with the wandering around and doing extra stuff. But like the third one, like, I tanked hours into that one. It sucked to have it not be worth it in the end, but it was the only one of the three that I got. If you had the third ending, doesn't say that though. I know. The secret ending where you can mesh the two. It's even so, like, even considering that the third ending that you could secret, super work for, like, factoring that in on top of it, it sucked. It sucked to go through everything you did in the game, and even in the other two endings have him, basically be like, hey, you can't do that. It didn't. It was more of a time sink than anything, but like I said, just because even if you didn't fully set everything up to get that final ending, that third ending, like, you kind of, like, you get them to start meeting in the middle. And, like, you don't get them at peace with each other, but you get them, like, it's almost like you get them opening the doors of conversation with each other. And then you get this little fucking ghost kid to be like, nah, you can't do that. It sucked. But it is what it is. Max Payne 3. I loved what Rockstar did with it. I didn't think that game changing hands the way that it did Um, I felt like after how they closed off Max Payne 2, I didn't think there was a way they could really, really pull out a 3, and they did. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. You guys saw me play that. You guys remember the fucking broken arm socket? I still bounce that clip around. It's fucking hysterical. Um, but yeah, no, Max Payne 3 was a lot of fun. I liked the settings. Obviously the bullet time was really well done. Like if you fuck up bullet time in a Max Payne game, you fucked up the whole game. And then Resident Evil 6. It's funny because everybody that I know that I've ever talked about Resident Evil 6 with, which I don't think I've ever really mentioned 6 on stream before. Um, so the people that I've known in real life that I've had this conversation with all complain. Giraffe Bluey. What? Am I forgetting something? Like, are you referencing something that I'm forgetting right now? Or is it like, wait, hold on. The fucking, the meme where the 6 is the giraffe? Yep, yeah. Yeah, the young son. Um, I loved the 4 different stories and how they interwove with each other. It's the one thing that I hear everybody complain about of not liking the different stories, but to play through it on one story and then see how everything winds and connects with everything else, it was really cool to see. And then like obviously like for any Resident Evil fan, the big like super fat moment for that game was when Leon and Chris meet face to face for like the first fucking time ever. Um, but it was really cool. Like gameplay wise, it was a letdown because that was definitely a couple of games into them taking Resident Evil into more like super pew pew and not so much survival horror. Um, and like yeah, I get that too. They definitely changed the roots of that series, and that part of it wasn't fun. But from the story side, seeing everything kind of weave and duck around itself, it was pretty fun. So that was definitely like my highlight of going through that game, was finishing one campaign and then switching to the next one and be like, all right, who am I gonna see? Where am I gonna see them? And then like seeing somebody from the campaign that you hadn't played yet, and then getting to theirs and be like, where's that part gonna be? Where are we gonna go? But that wraps up 2012. Kev, what were your mentions from 2012? What you got, boo boo? Anybody else have any experiences with any of these games that you would like to chime in with? First G-Man lines in like the last decade just got released. Wait, what? Is that a Half-Life thing? All right, I'm gonna say Borderlands. I'm gonna say Borderlands for the first hint. Kev is apparently giving me emote hints for these games. The man in the suit description. Oh, like the fucking Slenderman looking dude. Yeah, I know who you're talking about now. That's a hint. Come on. I was gonna say that's definitely fucking Borderlands. Fucking looter shooter. What else you got? You said you had 2 mentions. Still does it fucking 10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm sure. The other one I definitely can't do in emote. All right. Give me, I don't know, give me genre, give me studio, give me something. Give me something to go on. Doing this list, by the way, War Shooter, was that Modern Warfare 3 that year? Not it. What was the Battlefield game that year? Black Ops 2 2012. Did that come out 2012? Also, hi, Spectre. How's it going? Welcome to the podcast. Did our viewer guess it, Kev? Did Spectre win the prize? No? Oh, Modern Warfare 3 was 11. Okay. Okay, Kev, I give up personally. I give up on the 2012 one. Okay, I'm trying to think of what else came out War Shooter wise that year. White Phosphorus. Oh, that like clicked and then it unclicked in my brain. Um fuck. Spec Ops? Was that the year Spec Ops came out? There we go. Like I said, that clicked and then it unclicked. I was like, I got it. No, I don't. Yeah, no, I've heard really good things about that game. I've heard questionable things about the end of that game, and like the twist of that game. Um, the details that I've heard about the twist of that game makes me hesitant to want to stream it. That's definitely one of those games that like I do want to play, and I'll play it on here if you guys would want to see me play it. But only big shooter that's ever done the Total War justice. Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I've always heard about that one. Um, I know another one that has, from what I've heard in the past, gotten notoriety for being real about those kind of things was the the reboot of the Medal of Honor games, and like everybody got super fucking critical about the fact that it used like the actual Taliban in it and everything, and that you could play them in multiplayer. And like I get people being butthurt about it, but again, it's war and it was facts of life at the time. Like had to include Borderlands 2 because it's a exactly no like again another one that crossed my mind, but for me it didn't strike that that personal of a note. Like there's gonna be games in each one of these years that like were up there. Like I'm not talking just about game of the year, anything like that. I'm just saying that like there's a lot of games to go from for each year. And if it's not up here, it doesn't mean I hate it or I shun it. It's just that these ones up here stuck out that much more to me. So, all right, we're gonna move on to 2013. Well, welcome, Spectre. Hope you're enjoying the old podcast. 2013. My game is the reboot of the Tomb Raider series. I've played the first fucking game like 4 times now, I think. It's so good. I liked what they did, giving her a more real story. Instead of having her fight down dinosaurs. I'm looking at you, Tomb Raider 1 PS1. Loved you to play Spec Ops on stream. Favorite Nolan North game. Nice. Well, I will. I'm pretty sure I have it digitally somewhere. I think on PS4. Um, but I think I also have it on Steam too, so I can install it one of these nights and test it and see how it runs. Um, Tomb Raider, I had so much fun with. The first time I played through it, it was very much that game that I got lost in. I explored every fucking corner of the island. I hunted everything. It just I sank into it. It was so much fun. Um, I loved the stories in the story of the whole game. Um, I loved all the puzzles in the tombs. They all felt really unique from each other, which is definitely saying something because as many as there were, like to not have them all feel like carbon copies of each other is impressive. So it was a really fun game. It was really cool to get lost in. When they remastered it again for the PS4, that just made it even more gorgeous of a game to go through. And again, this is another one of those games that I will play countless times over and over and enjoy it every single time. The only way I have not played this game yet is on the PC, and it's definitely the next thing I want to do. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint like that one thing that I liked about this game. It cuz the original Tomb Raider games were like big points of my childhood. So to see it get redone and redone well was a nice touch. I'm assuming I know Kev's played this one, I think. Maybe not. I can't remember if you played this one. Anybody else have any love hate for the Tomb Raider reboot? I know this is probably going to be one of the more like on the fence ones. I couldn't remember if you had played this one. I know you never finished Shadow. We were just talking about that actually. For some reason, actually no, there's not just some reason. Far Cry 4 got me really into playing with bows in games. Any game that let me take a fucking bow, I loved it. And so going back into this game after that, like I hold on to the bow all the time in this game. It is so much fun to dick around with. So screw Far Cry 4. Don't worry, it's not on here. It's not on here. I love it. I love it, but then I got Far Cry 5, and that just kind of replaced it. So, oh yeah, this was definitely Uncharted inspired. Uncharted copies Tomb Raider copies Uncharted, full circle. Exactly. It's kind of poetic, you know. It was very easy to see the inspirations from what Uncharted did to this style of game, for them to pull it out and kind of reclaim the throne essentially. Maybe not even like reclaim the throne, but at least like throw their head back into the mix. They did a really good job. Did a lot of my gaming tropes that I've just grown to hate. Crafting, basic gameplay. Oh, the deaths were so gory. Like, I think this is one of the few games that I've played that like has a scripted death that's legitimately made me go like, ugh. I think the one that got me the most in this one is when you're doing the like ride the river scene. If you don't go over and you get like the fucking like wood shit like shoved up through your face, like they did a good job on that one, because that made me cringe a little bit. I think the only other in-game death that's ever made me cringe that much is the if you fuck up the eye puzzle in Dead Space 2, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly how I feel. If you don't know, that just means you haven't played Dead Space 2. Lara's character progression from victim to killer I liked it. it definitely it did her personal justice and kind of brought her character around. Um, Kev knows. That's definitely the Dead Space 2 react right there. um, no, I liked it. I liked it, and I had a thought on that. I was gonna expand on it. um, Buzz. Oh, the fucking eye from Dead Space 2. Shit. I just had a brain fart on what I was gonna say too. But, you know, I like how they did it, and it wasn't in a cheesy way. It was it felt real the way they had her. You know, essentially save face, I guess, if you want to, like, you know, dumb it down. Reading articles that the progression was too quick, not natural. I can see how some people would feel that way. I think, if anything, I would probably say that maybe her initial jump back from victim was a really big jump, but like it wasn't like an instant swing. It wasn't like she came out like full on top, you know. Oh yeah, you know, if you don't even, yeah, if you buzz straight through it, that's definitely gonna be your feels. But no, I felt like her initial reaction to that situation probably like thrust her further down that line, for the essence of the fact that she's your main character in the game. She has to, you know, do the things she's going to do. But I feel like from that jump to the end was perfectly done. And again, a lot of that, like Kev just said, it's the progression of that is definitely going to matter on how quick you buzz through everything. But it was a really fun game, and I didn't get the same feeling from Rise and Shadow that I got from playing this game. Like this puzzle right here in this tomb, the first time I played through this, I was like, what the fuck do I do? How do I get through this? What do I do? And it still became one of the ones that, like, on subsequent playthroughs, I was still like, what do I do here? Like, there's puzzles in games that, like, they're just so frustrating that the solution is glued into your mind. But then there's other ones that they're kind of that middle ground. They're like kind of annoying, but kind of makes sense too. And that's what this was for me. So, like, I don't know, it was fuck this room. room for sure. Shadow's the worst of the three. Yeah, Shadow was a game. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was a video game. That we can say. But if you guys want to throw down anything else you guys want to say about Tomb Raider, feel free. We have another Quantic game up here with Beyond Two Souls. Another one that you guys got to see me stream. I liked that one more than Heavy Rain because of the out-of-sequence storytelling. I was actually a fan of that. I know not many people really enjoy bouncing around like that, but the way they did it, it definitely feels it felt cool to get those like gaps in the story and then fill them in later. But I also liked that there was kind of some direct combat with that one, because in Heavy Rain, any of the fights that you did, it was all QuickTime stuff. And so I felt like it was a much more dumbed down control version of it, but the way you get to fight off some of like the spirits and things, I don't know, it felt more interactive than a QuickTime event for me. Might have just been me. I don't know. But I like that. And then obviously really good, strong story and a cool fucking cast to play around with. Pokemon X and Y is probably the one that pulled me back into wanting to play Pokemon more. I obviously, I was around for the first gen to get released. Um, and I never, my family wasn't very financially stable when I was growing up, so I missed out on a lot of like those games when I was a kid. So I didn't have a Game Boy, so I didn't get to keep up with, all the Pokemon stuff that came out. So it was always just like, people would mention the new one coming out. I was just like, oh, cool, another Pokemon game, nice. But then like I got my hands on X and Y, and I was like, I want to play all these games now. Which is funny because X and Y have some of like the most ridiculous ones. Like, isn't X and Y the one where they fucking had the ice cream cone one? Fucking vanillish. Yeah, hold on. It's X, right? Wasn't it XY? Or was that black white? Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. No, that was black white. But even so, like, come on, a fucking ice cream cone Pokemon? What the fuck? But no, I just it was the one that pulled me back into it. It might have been the fact that it was 3D and that whole, market aspect of it was really well done. But yeah, you can't not mention Pokemon. Like, let's be real. Um, Payday 2. I played it a lot when it first came out. Well, not when it first came out. A couple years after it launched. It eventually, at one point, became a PlayStation Plus title on the PS3. I would have included. What? Can you spell that one out more for me? Because I don't know what that acronym is supposed to be, and I'm sorry. um. Yeah, Payday 2 was definitely another one that I came into later. Because at the time when I played it, I didn't do much of the online stuff. So I missed out on a lot of like the great multiplayer stuff. But it's still around, still a thing. I now have it on PC, so I can actually enjoy it more now. And it's such a fun game. I've probably actually played more of the first one now because of that little stint that Jamie had playing it, and I hopped in with him. Yeah, and it's still getting content. Like, what the fuck? Like, this game came out 6 fucking years ago, and they're still fucking beefing shit out for this game. It's fun, and it's the openness of it. You can Payday 2 definitely gives you more control over the stuff. Like, Payday 1 was kind of bullshit. I know it sucked. The one thing that sucked playing through the first one was the times where we would like mask ourselves to start the heist, and like instantly everybody was on alert. Like, we could hide in a fucking back room, but they luckily changed that system. No stealth view, exactly. Like, you can stealth if you're a normal person, but once you put that mask on, it clearly alerts everybody. Stop making stuff after the White House because that was gonna be the end, but yeah, a little bit. Last of Us. It's a mention for me, and not play the demo. Payday demo, too janky and loose for controls. For what did you play it on a console or did you play a PC? Just out of curiosity. I played it both, and I had it PS3. I got it on Xbox One because I was able to get it for like a steal from GameStop, and then I got it on Steam. And of the three, I very much prefer it on PC. So if I obviously don't know your gaming situation, but if you have potential to play it on PC, I would recommend checking it out again. I had the very same feeling that you do when I first played it on PS3. And I still had that feeling when I checked it out on Xbox One. So maybe the PC run of it might change it. least for Bullet Sponge with OPTH just left. Yeah, yeah. Overpowered AI and opponents and shit like that can be a downfall too. Yeah. I think the one thing that I hated about it at first when I first got into it was the fact that like they tried to present it as a game that you could play by yourself, but you really can't. You really can't. Um, Last of Us is one of the games that I was talking about before. Is one of the ones that like is a really big faptastic game for most people. I never finished it. I've told this before, so if you're hearing this for the first time, hearing me say I never finished The Last of Us, there's a reason. Basically, when it came out on PS3, you could sign on to your PlayStation account on multiple consoles, download the same content on both of those consoles, and essentially give the game to somebody else. And they could play it on their own profile. And somebody I worked with let me do that to check out Last of Us. And he let me do it because the friend that was borrowing it that way was done with it. And I just never got to finish it before the friend needed it back. But I do want to go back to it at some point. It's definitely something I'm saving to play on stream. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't overly impressed with it though. I basically felt like, and I said this to Kevin the other night when we were talking. I really felt like it was just an excuse for Naughty Dog to do something not Uncharted. Like they very well succeeded with it, but it didn't really blow me away. GTA 5 at the time until a couple of years ago. Only GTA game that I ever finished. The story was entertaining. And this was before they've, like, I'm talking, like, initial launch, before they even dropped out the fucking online shit. The story was fun. I liked getting to switch around people. The missions were fun. It was, like, sarcastic and witty all the time. There is the questionable torture scene that we don't really have to talk about. But, it was the first GTA game that ever really made me want to play the story. And, like, even now, like, I've gone back into, like, 4 and Vice City, and, like, I can get so much done, and then I'm like, yeah, let's just go kill some hookers. But, it was an amazing game. It still is. I've played the story on GTA 5 probably 3 times now. So, I think I completed 5 playthroughs of The Last of Us. So, you're not a huge fan of the game. Is that what you're saying? You could live without Last of Us. Honestly, didn't include it. I feel like, yes, it had Naughty Dog's high-tier storytelling and pacing, but I felt that they wasted resources to make. Yeah, and I think they only did that because of how much fun people had with the multiplayer for Uncharted. If I ever was asked to pick favorite multiplayer experience in a game, hands down, Uncharted 2. It was the most fun. Uncharted 2 was the game that got me back into wanting to play multiplayer stuff. There was a great selection of modes, and it was broken down so well. Like you could have different, like your team deathmatch, your capture the flag, your, the zone defense, like domination, all that kind of shit. And then it was broken down even more because you could get like pistols and sidearms only, or fucking the best thing ever was RPGs only. So it was really cool. It felt like there was like never-ending options for Uncharted 2 multiplayer. So, but that's my 2013 stuff. Kev, did you have anything from 13? Uncharted 3 had the best multiplayer for the series. I like that Uncharted 3 brought in co-op stuff to do. That was really cool. I felt like they missed a little bit with the multiplayer feeling from 2 to 3, but GTA is the game for 13. I kind of figured it's a pretty clutch game, like the game as a service. had co-op a bit. Yeah, no, it was super basic for 2. Like 3 had basically like its own like co-op campaign that you could do. And again, those are games that I want to go back and play through too. I think I only streamed The Lost Legacy. I don't think I ever streamed 4. I know I didn't stream 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, it is. We actually, if I get through all of this and there's still enough time, we're actually going to be playing GTA 5 at the end of this, so. It was so good, the story for GTA 5. It was so good, so clutch. Alright. Moving on. We're gonna jump ahead another year. And bump it up to 2014. How can you not pick a Smash game? Like let's talk about that. How do you not pick a Smash game? Had BioShock Infinite as honorable mention for 13. That's okay. That honestly, that's one of the ones that I hesitated on it because I'm like, I haven't played it, but I know I've seen it. If I've rushed the last act of the story, I gotta say, I've actually done more recently so much more of the online stuff. I don't remember the story, so I guess I need another playthrough of it. Smash is that go-to game with your buddies. And I loved my favorite thing that they did with this version of it was releasing it on, let me just get into some actual fucking gameplay. Go here. Releasing it on the Wii U and on the 3DS and being able to play on both together. I think the most unique thing that they did with it was being able to hook up, like basically sync your 3DS with the Wii U and use your 3DS as a controller in it. The only Wii U exclusive on the list, I'm assuming. I think so. Yeah. Not the only Nintendo exclusive on the list, but definitely, I'm pretty sure, fairly confident, the only Wii U one. If I was including remasters, I probably would have dropped in the Twilight Princess HD remaster, but I didn't want to include the re-releases. But I loved this game. This was the one that I got good at Smash with. There's more than one Wii U game. There's two. I got introduced to Smash with Melee, and I sucked. I fucking sucked. Brawl got me into the game more because I got really good at beating face with Snake. Like, really good at beating face with Snake. And everybody hated me when I played Snake. But from there, I expanded a little bit on the roster with Brawl. But Snake was my go-to. And then they didn't bring him back for this one. I was like, who am I going to play with now? What really made this one more enjoyable for me, and it's the only Smash that I've really sunk time into by myself, is I liked the story mode that you could do to collect shit, to customize your characters and give them, like, not more moves, but, like, change what they did. Like, you could adjust Mario's cape so it would do, like, wind damage and blow people backwards, or, like, it was really cool customization. And yeah, it was the game that I'm not really friends with most of the group anymore, but me and my buddies would just always, like, force ourselves to have time, like, once every other week, to get together and play this, and fucking lose track of time to it. One honorable mention for this year: no games on the core list. Well, fine then. Be like that. What's your you got do you have a hint for your honorable mention? Breath of the Wild on the Wii. I've heard that. I've heard that the Wii U version was better. I don't know why. Do you have any insight as to what makes it the more preferable version? I have it on the Switch, and I love that I can fucking play it wherever the hell I want to go. um, Obviously, I'm assuming everybody in here has some experience with the Smash game at all. You can't deny it's a great fighter series. Um, I think the one letdown with this one was I felt like they overdid how many Fire Emblem characters that they had. Like there was so fucking many in this one. Like why? um, is that XCOM? That's got to be XCOM. The alien face alone tells me XCOM. No? Mm. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. Is it another Borderlands? Is it the pre-sequel? Trying to think what else came out that year. Oh, I know. I know. I got you, boo boo. I know. That was Destiny. That was the Destiny year. I got you. I got you, sweet cheeks. Um. Oh, hi. We can skip this. Um. Yeah, no. There's really not like much to expand on with Smash. Like, there's no great story. Like, the music is all stuff from the games. Like, it's just a fucking fun fighting game to play with your friends and make you hate each other and love each other at the end of the day. Still, by the end it was high quality. It was. I was very late on that ship, so that was the only reason I didn't include it. I feel like if I was able to experience that game for what it was worth at the time, that would have been up there for me. But whole online nature of it is something people are still trying to. Yeah, maybe it'll get copied at some point. We'll see. Um, Donkey Kong, fucking Tropical Freeze. It wasn't the first one. We could have also had Donkey Kong Country Returns on here. Tropical Freeze was a nice new Donkey Kong game to get. Uh, it did a great job at kind of capturing the old feel of the games. Obviously with the added benefit of being a newer game and HD graphics and better saves and all that kind of shit. But no, it was really cool, and I liked that they didn't just like recycle some old bullshit and be like, oh, another Donkey Kong thing with the same fucking people, part 79 and a half. Like, the whole island freezing over part of the story was really, really fun to see. So, it was definitely the right direction to take that game out of like, the whole beachy, jungly area. And for a Nintendo game, they, sold it the only way they could. Assassin's Creed Rogue, always other than Odyssey, of the two newer refacing of the Assassin's Creed games, Rogue is always going to be my favorite Assassin's Creed game. I don't know why. There's so many reasons, but like I can never put my finger on that one reason that one is in my mind. Unity was garbage. Rogue definitely killed it that year with the Assassin's Creed franchise. Like I swear to God, if they didn't release Rogue and they only put out Unity that year, Assassin's Creed would not be a thing anymore. Like, maybe they would have let it sit for a few years and then try to bring it back, but Rogue was so good. Like, it took everything great from Black Flag and shrunk it down a little bit. And just they put such a good story behind it. And if you've been here before, you've heard me talk about how much I hate Black Flag and why I hate Black Flag. That could be a fucking episode of the podcast all by itself. We're not going to go open that can of worms right now. But Rogue was so good. And it's the only, maybe Assassin's Creed 3, but it's the only one that I can guarantee of the older style Assassin's Creed games that I will go back and play again and again. It did. I will give you that. It did. But even so, all I'm going to say is hold on, let me bring the camera back up for this one. If you're here tomorrow night for the New Year's stream, Janelle can attest to this, okay? Real quick, who of you guys in chat who has played both Rogue and Unity? Or not even played, but at least knows the ending of Rogue? Should have included Brotherhood on my list. I thought about it too. Miss Brotherhood, 15 years old, Xbox Live with friends. Yo, fucking Brotherhood multiplayer was clutch. Oh my god. I had so many nights where I did not sleep because me and Mike would just match up and play literally till the fucking sun came up. There was one day. No, not that it starts 3, that it starts Unity, basically. That bow. Hold on, let me finish the Brotherhood thing. There was one night I was playing with Mike, and at the time he worked in a local pharmacy. And he was already feeling like not so great the night before when we started playing. But we finished up a match and we went like back into the game itself to grab some shit. And he was like, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And like 5 minutes passes and then he comes back and he gets on the fucking headset and he's like, "I'm not feeling good. I called out sick." And then we just lost the afternoon playing Brotherhood. It was so good. Yeah. Okay, so the ending of Rogue, where it ties into Unity. And again, if you're here tomorrow night during the New Year's stream, you can ask Janelle because she witnessed me playing this part. I lost my fucking mind. Like, you start off that mission outside of that building, and it started to click. And I was like, where are we right now? This looks familiar. I was like, what's this gonna be? And then you start hearing the people talk. And then you start hearing the names. And like every step of the way, I'm walking into the building going, no fucking way. They're not. No, this is not. No, this can't be. And like when it finally hit that like full click moment that you're the one that causes those things at the beginning of Unity, I was like, oh, like fucking full on nerdgasm. Like, you can ask Janelle. It was hysterical and it was amazing, and still probably like my personal favorite gaming moment. Just the way that wraps into itself. It was so well done. And maybe I missed some hints before that. I don't know. Maybe I missed some hints in Unity. I don't know. But to me, when I played it, I felt like they did not give shit away for that at all. Like, I felt like they intentionally kept his story away from Arno's And then in that final moment, they were like, "Oh, by the way, get fucked. Watch this shit." But yeah, no. Going back to what you said, Spectre, about the bugs in Unity, I played it on launch, and I was lucky enough to not get the bugs too. That famous one of like the face that wasn't a face, I never had that. Like, I never knew that was a thing until years later, and I think it was actually Kevin that said something about it to me when I did my my franchise run through Assassin's Creed a few years ago. I think it was Kev that brought it up, and I was like, "What are you talking about? The no Facebook? What is this?" And then you sent me a screenshot, and I was like, "Bro, what?" Never had heard about that at all. Let us kiss with no faces. Good shit. I mean, that's the only way to kiss, really. Come on. You should explain what happened to Rogue's main character tied more. I think the reason they left Rogue's character out of Unity was I feel like they were hoping that some people were going to play Unity first and then get that shock value of playing Rogue after. And I feel like that's why they didn't include him in it. Because then you would have essentially gone into Rogue with half of it ruined if they were constantly bringing him up and what happened with him. I totally get what you're saying. I agree with you. It would have been nice to have him included in it. I think what they should have done is had some sort of DLC pack afterwards that kind of like brought him into the Unity side of the world and tied things up that way, maybe. But I love the way they did it, and I fully applaud it. Rogue should have been the PS4. It really should have. It really should have. Like, it was cool to get the co-op experience with Unity, but Unity was so bad. I hate Unity. Unity, if I ever do an Assassin's Creed run again, it's going to be a partial run because I'm going to skip the first one. I'm going to skip Revelations. I'm going to skip Black Flag. And I'm going to skip Unity. Every other one of the games, I will always replay. And, like, the one that I always want to replay is Rogue. I think my biggest curveball up here is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It took a stealthy series and made it hack and slash. And I loved it. That's why it always stuck out to me, because it took what Metal Gear Solid always stood for and changed it. And it's not a Metal Gear Solid game. Like, they never ever try to. Like, it's Metal Gear Rising. Like, it's like that sidestep off of Metal Gear Solid. And everyone around the time that it came out, everyone always bitched about it not being Metal Gear Solid. And I'm like, you're right, it's not. It was really cool to see him get his own story after everybody loved him from 2. And getting to see him a little bit in 4. So getting him his own game was fun. And I liked what they did with his abilities in the fighting. The boss fights in that game were a lot of fun. I remember I got stuck on one of them because I didn't fully understand what I was supposed to do, and then it clicked one day, and then the rest of the game was a breeze. Yeah. I feel like this is going to be the last thing I say on the Assassin's Creed thing. I feel like what they did is in 3, when they introduced all the naval stuff, people went nuts and loved it. Like, that was definitely one of the most talked about things from 3. I think Black Flag overdid it. I think they were like, oh, everybody liked this. Well, they're going to love this pirate game that we've already been developing. I think Rogue is what should have been the next step from 3. As far as incorporating the ship stuff. I think that should have been their next step. I think Black Flag was way too much. Rogue was the perfect mixture, and it would have been the perfect water test to be like, do you guys like this much more naval stuff? Because if you do, we can make you be a pirate. Just talk about the octopus. So, I totally don't have another game between talking about water things and Octodad, because Octodad was a lot of fun, and octopuses are in water. There you go. There's that beautiful segue Kev was waiting for. When it came out, Octodad was a game I never would have touched. I never would have looked at. I didn't fuck with those kind of games. Now, for your amusement, watching me stream, I will all the time. And you did get to see me play some of Octodad. It is a lot more fun. I actually watched Jamie's Abby stream it a while back for one day. And like seeing it kind of like made me rethink my initial reaction to the game, and I was like, this could be fun. This could be weird and fun. Maybe it is. It is. It's a stupid game that is so much fun because of how stupid it is. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I can't even pinpoint one single thing to pick out of that game because it was all just fucking stupid. But I will say, fuck going up those backwards escalators. Fuck that. I will never play that part of the game again. That was bullshit, and I hate it. Unless I get a desk that is like 16 miles long and I can just fucking run with my mouse to get him to climb up that shit. But otherwise, fuck that game. No, it was a really fun game, and I'm glad I'm more open to weird things like that. And then to cap off the honorable mentions, Stick of Truth, it really... It did such a great job with South Park. I played the retro South Park games growing up, and they were okay, but they were weird, and like not the good kind of weird. So when they started talking about Stick of Truth and big South Park RPG and blah blah blah, I'm like, don't know how this is gonna go. And I didn't pick it up on launch even. I picked it up like a year later, I think. It's such a good game. It's South Park. Like if you're easily offended, it's not a game for you. But if you can handle bullshit, it's a game you need to play. It's so much fun. So, but that is 2014. Moving right along to 2015. Arkham fucking Knight. Only this game can do nothing. The fucking Nazi zombie. It was so bad. So bad. So bad, but so good. I think going back to South Park for a moment. It did so many offensive things, but like at the same time, it's the only game that you could brush it off with because it's South Park. Like, and that's your explanation right there. Because it says Fallout 4 on the sign, and I wanted to fuck with everybody. I had the stereotypical Fallout 4 slide, and I was like, wait. Let's do this one instead. Arkham Knight, though. It was, I think gameplay-wise, City will always be my favorite. Oh, wait, that's got that guy's face on there. I don't want to... Hold on. I'm trying to get the gameplay video to throw up for Arkham Knight, and that one was like an actual stream with his face on it, and I don't want somebody's face on there. Here we go. All right. Gameplay-wise, Arkham City is always going to stand out to me. But Knight, I loved the story. The way they did the story, and it's still one of those things that, like, there's probably people that haven't played it. The things that they incorporated to the core plot, I knew what was going to happen. I had read the comic books. I had seen some of the animated movies, so the things that they drew from for inspiration for the core story for Arkham Knight, I knew already. Arkham Knight was a disaster of a game on launch, one of the few disasters I love. Never played it, watched the entire thing though. I remember. I definitely had some issues playing it too. I didn't care. Just like you said with watching it, it was frustrating at times because of the disasters, but it was still so much enjoyment from playing it. But yeah, no. So like I said, the story I knew everything for. Like, as soon as I started hinting at where they were possibly going with it, I was like, I got you. I see where you're doing. And it was really well done because they, like I said, they drew inspiration from the comics and, you know, a certain animated movie. But they didn't copy it, which I appreciated. So they kind of like, they changed it enough, but they kept it similar enough that anybody who knew the source material could enjoy it and, you know, ride it out. And kind of see it, but still not fully see it. You know what I mean? And Rocksteady haven't released a game since. Here's hoping. Here's fucking hoping. You never know. But again, it's the way they did all the villains, all the fights. The combat just got better with each game, in my opinion. So, did you forget about Arkham VR? It's true. That's true. I have that on the PS4. I'm curious. That's definitely one of the things I got to throw in one of these days. Yeah, no, it was a fun game, and I've played it myself. I've watched it get played, and either way, it's still super enjoyment. I already know my game for this year. I'm gonna say Witcher 3. If it's not Witcher 3, I maybe don't know. No? Is it not Witcher 3? Anybody else? Anybody else in chat play Arkham Knight? Enjoy it. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the Bloodborne year. Yep. You're right. I got my years mixed up, okay? I did all this shit this morning, okay? Cut me some fucking slack. Scarecrow of Arkham Asylum was. Oh, he was. Arkham Asylum Scarecrow was definitely the best Scarecrow. But I still liked how they managed to stretch using him too. Like, they didn't just copy pasta. Not my fault you waited. Motherfucker. When did Tack give me this idea? When the fuck did I get this idea, Kevin? Huh? It's fucking right. Oh yeah, the 60 games is my fault. I don't care. I'll own up to that part of it. Bloodborne and Witcher 3 top games for Normies 2015. Witcher 3 I have not fully experienced, but I have experienced it enough to know that I couldn't not mention it. Did mine Friday, Saturday. Yeah, well, you also didn't do 60 games, so suck my dick, okay? Witcher 3, again, it's one that I want to play. I would love to stream it. I definitely can't anytime soon, and it's a game that I don't want to save for streaming because of how great I know it is. And I also want to be able to enjoy watching Jamie play it too. So, Fallout 4, is I always wanted to enjoy the Fallout games. And surprisingly enough, 4, the one that everybody hates on the most out of the newer ones, is the only one that I finished. I intend to change that because I have 3 and New Vegas on PC, and I don't have to be a fucking console pleb to finish them. But I wrote out 4 on the PS4, and I had a great time with it. And that's honestly that's another one that I have to like tip my hat to Jamie for, because getting to see the expanse of what it was, really really drew me in, and I felt like it probably definitely got toned down difficulty wise from the other ones, but Fallout Tactics. No, Tactics is the shit, and you're gonna stream it, and you're gonna 100% it. Every achievement, everything. 76 is home beer. If I can ever find 76 cheap enough, I'll pick it up, but not right now. But yeah, no, I liked Fallout 4 a lot. It was an interesting twist at the end, to say the least. Definitely questionable. But it's still a fun game, and it's obviously I was more drawn to it because if you know where I'm from, it's very close to where I'm from. I live probably like 2 hours outside of Boston, so it was kind of cool to see it all. And obviously, fucking nuclear wasteland Fenway Park is the shit. So, what if I considered Rocket League on this list for impact on gaming? Yeah. If I was including those kind of things too, I would have thrown them in. I don't know. Like those are games that I enjoy now, but like they're more restrictive on why I enjoy them versus the things that I have on the list. Life is Strange, I think the first real episodic story game that I played. Granted, I didn't play it as it came out episodically, so it was just a full game for me to run through. But again, I'm a big story person. Obviously, it has a big focus on story, but also getting the puzzles and using her, little flashback rewind bullshit to sort the things out. Oh hey, I didn't put the capture footage up here for the gameplay. Sorry. Telltale from 2012 to present wireless. Yeah, that's not surprising. Again, those are things that I know would have been on here if I'd played many of them, and I haven't. But we're gonna change that. We're gonna change that soon. But yeah, no, Life is Strange is fun. It was one of those games that like I was intrigued by it, knowing what it had to deal with. And then it actually, anybody here, if you guys know the Curly Crew, I watched Wife Lady stream it, a little bit of it, and like I literally watched like 15 minutes of it, and it was in the middle of like I think episode 2, somewhere. But like in that 15 minutes, I got so hooked, I was like, I have to leave. I want to play this game, and I don't want to spoil a damn thing anymore. Bloodborne. Again, you can't. You don't have to really explain it. It is what it is. I loved the depth of the lore. I loved all the bosses, all the even like generic enemies. It was great. I had tried it a couple of times before and failed miserably. And then I, learned that is the way that one goes. And you guys know, a few months ago, I said, fuck it. We're going to tough it out. And we did. And I'm glad. It was a fun game. It's the only From game that I have completed as of now. And that's going to change, obviously. But no, I couldn't not mention it. It's so great. It's the only game that Has some of Vivi's trick weapons modded into. Oh, really? Oh, now I need Blade and Sorcery. That's fucking amazing. It's one of the only games for me that I want to know more about everything in it. Like, you can only get so much lore. But, then there's the people that, go through all of it and analyze all of it and make the, extensive YouTube videos studying it and whatnot. Like, that's the only game that I've done that for. So I gotta go back for those optional ones. Yeah, we will at some point. I just need my my wish list alert to remind me when I have money to remind me when the DLC goes on sale. And then rounding off 2015 is Splatoon. Probably my curveball of the year. But when it got announced, I laughed. Fucking hysterically, I laughed. Because I was like, Nintendo wants to compete with Call of Duty, and this is the best that they could do. And then I played it, and it's a lot of fun. It's obviously not, meant to be Call of Duty competition. But they took the shooter concept and put a very, very, very Nintendo spin on it. And it worked. It was so much fun. It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. I actually want to. It's just like exactly. But that's why you get Splatoon 2 for the Switch. But no, it's a game that I would love to. I can definitely see within the next year, like you all might get some fucking Splatoon streams with like me and Leon or me and Zechariah if he's permanently stops being a duder. Yeah, it's a really fun game. It's really cool. Kev, any other 15 games for you? And anybody else? Any thoughts or opinions on the ones that are up here before we jump on to 16? Kind of questions. Yeah, it did. Like, this 2015, going through this list, this was the year that it started getting to be difficult to narrow it down to even just 6 games. So, all right, I'm gonna actually give me a moment to take a quick break, go run to the bathroom. I will be right back momentarily, and we'll continue on and finish off the rest of the year. Years. apologize. Until Dawn came out. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That actually, I don't know. I don't know if I regret not including that one. That was a game though. Just gonna drop a list of every 2016 game real quick. Just you fill up that chat, Jamie. You fill it up. Kev, am I supposed to guess it with no hints from you, or do I get your little emote drop? I'm trying to. You say it's gonna be a curveball, but I mean I'm trying to remember which Barbie game came out that year. All right, so opening up into 2016, we got Uncharted 4. For me, best game in the series. Again, just me. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine. I fucking loved it. It was an amazing game. Definitely my favorite. Story-wise, definitely my favorite. Visual-wise, still hold 2 higher than 4. 2, I have. See, this is where it gets weird, and it's probably not going to make sense if I say this, but maybe somebody will understand. Probably not. I have moments of 2 that are more favorable to me than moments in 4. But overall, this one, and I'm not saying it was a huge margin, like inched it out. This one blew me away more than 2 did. I loved what they did. I think the one thing probably that tilts it more in favor of 4 than 2. Should probably get some sleep. It's not 6 a.m. No, it's not 6 a.m. It's 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m., Jamie. What are you talking about? Jamie, thank you for hanging out. Enjoy your sunrise. I love you very much. I highly doubt it, but I look forward to if you end up streaming it all tomorrow, today. Thanks for chills. I hope you have a good sleeps. Bye. Also, Kev, I don't think we're doing the heist tonight. Swo, if you're still hiding back there, I'm sorry that I wasted your time. Issues with 4 mostly around the whole holy shit, my dead brother isn't dead. Yeah, that was kind of campy. Definitely could have done without that. I think what would have made me hate that aspect of the story a little less was if he'd, and I maybe this happened and I don't remember it. Did he ever get fucking mentioned in the series before this game? But then, he comes literally out of the fucking woodworks. Becomes a huge main focus in this game. And then he ends up being in Lost Legacy too. Like, I feel like they forced it for him to be like a catch-up character. Like, oh, I'm part of the mix too. It was definitely very campy and cheesy. Could have done without it, but for me, it still doesn't take away from it. I had a lot of fun. This game is just absolutely gorgeous. But no, what I was going to say is I think the thing that tilts my preference in favor of 4 more than 2 is I hated in 1 and 2 the moments of the monsters. I hated in 1 when they brought out the fucking things that looked like the lickers from Resident Evil. And I hated in 2 with the fucking Yeti. It took what to me felt like really realistic, believable games and killed it for me. 3, I was happy that they did the hallucination shit. And I was glad that they didn't do anything like that at all. As far as like, fighting old pirate stupid shit. Um Really weird considering all the stuff in 3 with Drake roaming the streets as a kid. Yeah, exactly. Like, you think that would have been clutch time to mention having a brother, and then you go back to young Drake and there's a brother. It didn't. Yeah, no. The random brother out of nowhere felt weird. So I don't know. They did what they did. It is what it is. The world moves on. um. Yeah, but exactly. Like I said, like I think if there had been at least some sort of mention, grapple hook from nowhere. Ah, good shit. Good shit. Um, I think if they didn't have him come in as early as he did and didn't force him to be such a main focus for basically the entire game, I think it would have been better. Maybe. But yeah, no, it felt like, hey, we have this long-standing game series, and oh, by the way, we're gonna shove another key character down your throat. 2 had a good progression from the town to the snowy mountains, so good. My absolute favorite part of 2, like, if I could load up one section of that game and just play it on repeat, it would be the convoy section where you're jumping from truck to truck, going and fighting up the mountainside. Just enough supernatural to make it meaningful, but not enough to overpower the core of the game. Oh, sorry, I missed your other one. 2 felt like they took Indiana Jones and made it a good game. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Again, though, if they didn't have the Yeti shit, I would have liked it more. But and I mean, it's still it that whole supernatural aspect of it, of not liking it. Like, I'll still play those games. Like, at some point, we're still gonna do an Uncharted franchise run. I can tell you that right now, just because they're so much fun. But yeah, no, I could do without the Yeti and the liquor stuff. Yeah, no, 4, again, 4 just blew me away. Like, they all did. They all really kind of like raised the bars on each other, in my opinion. It's basically Last Crusade protection, but with super strength. Oh, good shit. Um, but then so for my honorable mentions, we have our first VR title. With Job Simulator, it's when the concept of VR came around, I instantly at the time, this has very much changed since then. I instantly wrote off the idea of like cartoony things, cause in my head, I wanted it to be, real. And full tag him, full tag Expo. See if he's still here. I ditch me. I don't care. Leave me out of it. um, he's not. Damn. I'm sorry. I love you. I promise. But yeah, no. So the concept of a game like Job Sim, I wasn't a fan of initially, but then I got my hands on it, and it is so easy to just lose hours into that game. Job Simulator has, I think it's 4 or 5 mini games, like jobs that you get to perform as. There's an auto mechanic one, an office worker, a cook. I can't remember the last one. It's going to annoy me. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. Kev better not put it into chat. I'm gonna slap him. Um, Office worker, mechanic. swear there was another one. I swear there was 4. Why can't I remember what the last job was? But anyways, it was a really great game to just sink time into and forget about the real world. It's gonna piss me off that I can't think of what the last job is. What are the jobs in Job Simulator? Oh, that's right. You get to run you're a store clerk. You get to run like a convenience store. I think that's the only one of the 4 I never did. But no, really fun game. Really great VR experience. A lot of fun. It'll probably get streamed at some point. The Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. That was a more personal one for me. I know that was probably not something that anybody even really thought of that year, but it took my childhood cartoon. It was a heavily cell shaded game, which I love anything cell shaded. If Borderlands wasn't cell shaded, I would never fucking look at those games. That's the one thing that keeps pulling me back to them. Like, I want more. It was really fun, and I liked that you got to use all the turtles. They felt different enough from each other, but obviously shared a lot of the same core moves, which kind of sucked a little bit. But the boss battles were fun. What was nice was it was a drop in, drop out multiplayer game. But if you played by yourself, you could swap on the go, and each turtle had like its own health bar. So as long as you didn't die with your turtle, you could swap out and keep, fighting. A lot of fun. Really good game. Division was Ubisoft has obviously come into their life of everything is open world. We're going to have open world racing. We're going to have open world mountain sports. We're going to have GTA with hacking. Everything is open world. Division was the only one that really felt fun. Since then, I've liked what they did making Ghost Recon Open 2. But Division's always been the stick out one for me. Obviously now Division 2 more than 1. But still a great game. Still so much fun. And games as a service. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're just not going to talk about that. Another Pokemon one up here. Sun and Moon. I liked with Sun and Moon how they kind of changed it, in a sense. They didn't make it feel like it was the same, grind through a whole bunch of gyms. Like, obviously, you're still basically doing the same thing in a slightly different method, but it didn't just feel like it was the same thing with more random monsters to choose from. And that one still put ORAS as the best 3DS title. I can respect that. I think I want to get one of them. But I think I'll play my my GBA Sapphire first before I play the remaster one. Sun and Moon is the only Pokemon game that I have gotten on launch. See, I haven't played all of them, so I can't really throw in on this with you. And I'm sorry for that. But yeah, no, I do want to play. Like I said, X and Y was the one that got me back into it. I now own at least one game from each major gen of Pokemon games, and I intend to play them through at some point. I want to talk about why ORAS was the best one, but like what, Kevin? And then rounding off the mentions for 2016, obviously Gears of War 4. I love the whole franchise. 4, if you guys remember, I was iffy going into 4 because new cast of characters, didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, they still brought back some of the older guys, but they don't really tell you that's going to happen at the beginning. And then, you start off fighting robots at first instead of the Locusts. So I started that game weary. And I'm so glad I saw it through. The post-game story that makes it the best. See, I would never even understand that then. 4 was nice though. 4 felt really, really, really smooth, really fresh. It was a great game. I will definitely go back and play it over and over and over. And I can't wait to do so. So that is 16. Kev, what was did you have a hint for your 16 one? Your curveball? Or am I supposed to just like fucking just raw dog guess it? It's an indie game. Did any of the Binding of Isaac stuff come out that year? No, that wasn't an Isaac year. Trying to think. Trying to think. I'm bringing up a quick list of things that came out in 2016. All I can give you, because if I give you more, you'll know instantly. It's not that. Just remember, search by Uncharted 4 did win Game of the Year. So, what won Game of the Year that year? That was before I started following the Game Awards and actually paying attention to what won Game of the Year. Kev, my 2 guesses. I'm gonna go back over here on the cam for the guesses. My 2 guesses are either Stardew Valley or the other one that I just looked at 3 seconds ago and I already forgot the fucking name of. Stardew Valley or Stardew. Never mind then. My other guess is gonna be Darkest Dungeon. Stardew was one of the ones that I really considered having on my mention list. And with how much I've played it recently, I'm kind of surprised at myself that I didn't, but like I said, this is Clever Girl. I love that reference. You're getting some bonus fruit bars right now. You will get 100 fucking fruit bars for that shit. That was good. That was well played. Almost 4 years old now, still getting updates from one person. Yeah, no, that is clutch. And like, that's definitely one of those things that like more info behind it, you definitely appreciate it more. But yeah, no, that was this is definitely the year that it was like, what the fuck? How there's so many games. Yeah. 16 was a good year for gaming though. Showed that a passion project can lead to criticism. It did. And there's I know that there's other games out there that started the kind of the same way. And it's so cool to see those get, their time in the sun and, essentially never leave their time in the sun. Because it really shows that it's not about full-fledged flashy graphics. It's not, it's not about anything like that. It's just if you can deliver an amazing experience, then that's all you really need. Pick for impact rather than... Yeah. It definitely has... It still is riding a massive impact, so... Alright, moving on. 2017 Does anybody? We're getting into more recent shit right now. So does anybody want to fancy a guess of what Mike's 2017 game was? I know Spectre. I know you're here for the first time. So maybe you've gotten enough of a flavor to fancy a guess, but I don't think anyone's gonna get it. Or what my top game for 2017 is gonna be. For 2017. I will give you one hint. Overwatch 1 2016. I can see that. One of those one more turn. Yeah, it is. I lost so much time going, let me farm one more day. I will give you one hint. This hint may not be in reference to games specifically. But think about what came out in 2017. Again, it might not be just games I'm talking about. Nothing? Nothing, Kevin? Nothing? You've got nothing to say? Alright, well, what if I say that 2017 is definitely a bit more of a Nintendo year? Close. You have the right console. You have the right family. Breath of the Wild is a mention, but it is not my top pick. I loved it. I loved what they did with that. I will talk about that when I get to it, but it is not my top pick. There you go. 2017, my game of the year that year, Odyssey. So much fucking fun. The one Mario game that everybody calls back to. Yep, I told you. It was going to be more of a Nintendo year. Super Mario 64 was my childhood. So, every Mario game since then, I've always wanted that one that would not copy Mario 64, but capture its essence. Sunshine did a little bit. I've heard Galaxy is pretty good. I haven't played Galaxy. One of these days I will. Odyssey. For some reason, when I started seeing stuff about it, I was like, this is going to be the one. And I waited. Not just for the game, I waited for the Switch. I knew everybody was going to go nuts to get the Switch on launch. I didn't want it on launch. Because I knew we're dealing with Nintendo here. And yes, it was launching with Zelda. But Nintendo's flagship is very easily this fucking plumber. And we all know Nintendo likes to rake in money with gimmicks. So I knew that when Odyssey came out, there was going to be a Mario version of the console. And I knew I was going to wait for it. And I did. And I'm happy because I loved the red Mario controllers that came with it, but I loved the game. I was intrigued by the whole Cappy concept, and it was so much fun to get to just fucking slap it onto things and become them. Because there's obviously there's a whole bunch of new enemies, but there's so many of the enemies that you grew up fighting against if you've ever played a Mario game before. So to get these like tiny little snippets of being those other characters that you stomped on for all these years, it was so much fun. And I've never finished this story. I'm never going to be the person that tries to get all the moon things, because fuck that, there's like 1,000 of them. I'm not that crazy. But I would love to restart it and go through and just straight up pound out the story. And we probably will at some point once I figure out a way to properly capture Switch PS3 type stuff and stream it with my new desk setup. But yeah, Odyssey, favorite game of the year, hands down. Breath of the Wild. Zelda's always been that franchise that it's one of those things that it's so talked about. It's been around so long. Everybody, super faps to it. So it's always one of those things that, like, for me at least, like, you feel bad if you don't play them. Like, as much as you've tried to play them in the past and they're not your thing, if you don't at least play it, you feel like you're just doing a disservice. Breath of the Wild is actually the one Zelda game that I really want to play. And not for anything other than the fact that I really want to play it. This year makes me mad because one of the best games from this year you started but haven't finished. Is that Horizon? Is that the Horizon year? But Breath of the Wild, it's really fun. It's really great. I love the open setting for a Zelda game. It was February. Okay, that's fair. That is fair. I will speak on Horizon after this. Let me get through my HMs. Kev, do you have anything from this year other than Horizon? I'm sure. I liked, again, and it's a word that's kind of been the theme of the night. But the freeness. They introduce you to the story in the Breath of the Wild, and they're basically like, here's the things that you need, here's the places that you have to go. You have a bunch of shit to do along the way. Go do it. Go figure it out and go do it. Like, obviously, you're kind of curbed a little bit with like the difficulty of some of the temples and stuff like that. That's within reason. But as far as like just going out, I felt like they did a great job of capturing the old Zelda JRPG style of just like, here, you're in the world, go do things now. Fortnite, yeah. It definitely did. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, so Breath of the Wild is obviously up there. To skip over to Mario and Rabbids. Mario and Rabbids is the game that officially plunged me into loving turn-based strategy. It's a genre that I had unintentionally encountered before and never really understood the love and hype and interest behind it. But that one pulled me in. And the best thing about it is the fact that Ubisoft got trusted with Mario, and they didn't fuck it up. Had a friend call me and didn't realize it was going to last 3 hours. I didn't realize this podcast was going to last 3 hours, so we're both right there. So, we tried to tag you in before. Because obviously I done fucked up and this went a lot longer than we expected. If you are available and have the energy to, and you want to do the heist, you and Kev are free to leave me behind. We're just gonna reschedule. That's fair too. If you guys are here at the end, we can talk about that before we sign off on this. Otherwise, we can talk on Discord tomorrow about rescheduling. But yeah, no. So Mario and Rabbids really, really pulled me into the turn-based strategy genre, and I'm forever grateful for that. But again, I just love the fact that Ubisoft got trusted with Mario and didn't fuck it up. So, Cat Quest is so good. We just played through it very recently. It's so fun. It's probably one of my all-time favorite indie games. They did an incredible job with it. It's a game that's very hard to set down once you start playing it. Podcast seems interesting. I'm invested. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. You can have a fruit bar because that was very nice of you to say. There you go. Need to find games to buy during sale and before need to purchase Hand Simulator. Y'all, we're going to play some Hand Simulator tomorrow night at some point. Even if it's just for like fucking 10 minutes. I don't care. Anyways, Cat Quest, amazing game. I liked how, obviously, the fucking puns. Like, the game is just a huge slap in the face with puns. And at some points it's overdone, but at the same time it's like, that was well played. Goddamn right that fruit bar is going to mean so much to you. It better. It fucking better. Bendy and the Ink Machine. Another one, you guys watched me play through it. I loved, honestly, it goes hand in hand with Cuphead. The both of them, they took a very, very old style of cartooniness and found a way to bring it into the present day and make it work. Bendy obviously took the spoopy horror approach. It's not a perfect game. Obviously, you remember the issues, quote unquote, that we had with the easily manipulated AI. But it's still made for a really fun experience. There was definitely some good jump scares in it. But just having the whole, rundown, haunted, demonic cartoon studio was just so much fun. And the fact that they're doing a sequel, I can't fucking wait, and you guys better be here when that comes. So, remember the issues with the chat? Oh, yeah, our lovely friend that we had that one night that came back the next night and got banned because he was stupid. Oh, some people. And then Cuphead for basically being the Dark Souls of side-scrolling shoot-'em-ups. I was intrigued, I guess you could say, when it got announced, by the concept of a game that was basically just boss fights. But it worked. It was a formula that I personally didn't expect to take to do what it did. I saw it get announced. I wanted it just for the art style. That's all I cared about. I didn't fucking care what kind of game it was. But the fact that it not only did that, but the massive ramp in difficulty, it was really well done. And as much as I will say I love that game, I hate the fact of the progress updater when you die in a stage, because then you can find out how close you were to actually beating the thing before you died. And it's a very sad moment when you find out you were like 2 pixels away from the end. So that is 2017. Kev, you would you say you had a couple more besides was it just Horizon and Fortnite, or Fortnite on the core, Horizon on the Champ? Okay, that's fair. Was it just those two for the year? Guys, we're almost up to the present. Manly, how are you doing? How's things on the other side of the world? Um, Good. I'm glad to hear it's all good. I'm very glad to hear it's all good. Um, would anybody like to fancy a guess for my 2018 game? I will give you a hint. I've said it on this podcast already. I have mentioned this game by name on this podcast already. No, but close. Not God of War. Not Spider-Man. I actually didn't even have Spider-Man in my mentions, surprisingly enough. I'm not surprised yours is God of War, Kevin. Trying to fix sleep schedule. Get all my downstairs neighbors to stop singing Horribly Dancing Star and being drunk idiots at 3 a.m. That's fair. I will say, Spider-Man was hard to not have in my mentions. Can I give you one more hint? Not Red Dead. Not Red Dead. Again, in the mentions, but not my game. The last hint before I switch over and reveal it. The sub name. So franchise name, sub name. The sub name for this game is on your screen right now. You can see it on the screen right now. Yep. Assassin's Creed. Hands down, my favorite game of that year. We streamed it. I've always been a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Always. When already in my cart. Wait, what's already in your cart? What? Are you buying these games as I mentioned them as well? When they announced that they were switching the style of Assassin's Creed for Origins, I didn't know how I felt about that because you had, so many games up to that point playing the same way, and then you're like, hey, we're going to change some stuff. I'm buying games and this gives me suggestions. Well, I hope I don't break your wallet / Christmas fund. I loved what they did with Origins in the end. But then this came out and they took everything that was imperfect about Origins and fixed it, in my opinion, and made it better. Why didn't I have Origins for 17? I liked it. It didn't pull me in like with this game. Yeah, Origins felt off. Like I can't really pin it down more than that, but it felt good but not great. Like it felt like it was missing things, and those things that I felt were missing from Origins, I didn't have that feeling for Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the only game that non-multiplayer, non-MMO, non-whatever, the only single-player game that I have literally put 100 hours into. And I would put 100 more. I loved everything about it. I loved the combat, all the fighting, whether it was up close, the far off with the bow, the way they handled the naval stuff, like everything, the mercenary system, all of it. I loved it. I would start from scratch and start it all over again. Best game in the franchise. Best game of the year. Why is Perfect Date not on the list for 2017? Because I sacrificed my only code that I have ever had for that perfect game, and I gave it to you. That is why, because I have not played it. My one stipulation for all of these 60 games that we're talking about tonight, my one stipulation was that I had to have played it in some form. Not finished it, but loved and hated and loved it again. Yep. Between the side quests, between the exploration, between just flat out discovery of locations, I wanted to do everything that I could in Odyssey. And there has been no game that has made me want to do that without any outside influence. This is the only game that has ever pulled me in like that. Yeah. Origins tried with the side stuff, but it missed the marks. Like, there was some of the side stuff in Origins that was pretty fun to do, but it missed more than it hit. Odyssey was fucking perfect. And if and when they're gonna probably drop another AC title. If and when they do, it's they either need to top this, or I feel like it's just gonna be a massive letdown. So, but yeah, I will say again, put so many hours into it, and I will do it again, because at some point I want to flip it. When we streamed it, I played as Cassandra. I would love to play as Alexios and see the story. Obviously, it's going to be the same fucking thing, but I want to see it, so. Should be good based on rumors. Like, I fucking hope so. Vikings makes sense. And if they keep with, like, this style of gameplay, Vikings is going to be perfect, so. Little Nightmares will be on my 2017 list. That was a hard one to not put on there. Like I said, once I hit, like, 2015, 2016 doing these, like, I thought I was doing myself a favor being like, okay. Like, it started off I was going to do my one game and 3 mentions. And then I was like, no, let me do 5. Like, I feel like 3, I would spend more time figuring out what the 3 would be. I was like, 5 would be good. Nope. Once I hit 2015, 2016, I was like, yo, I could mention like 20 games right now and be good. But yeah, Odyssey, hands down, like I said, my favorite game in the whole franchise. Interesting to see how they explain all the Norse gods as the ones who came before it. I know. That's the one thing with Assassin's Creed that I love, is all this ancient mythology stuff. They're now connecting back to their own ancient mythology within their universe. It's so nice. Seasons After Fall would def go on my 2016. I think, actually, you know what? I just got that game. We did advent calendar stuff this year, and my advent stuff from Janelle was game codes for Steam, and that was one of the games. That's definitely a thing that I want to check out at some point. On a fence for Vikings, hoping for more Asian oriented. Yeah, that's been one that's been desired in the AC world for a while. It would be nice to see if they settle on the fact that they did the China setting in the 2.5 side scrolling ones, the Assassin's Creed Chronicles. If they settle on the fact that we touched it there, fuck you. You're just dicking the fans there. You guys guessed God of War and Red Dead 2. Amazing games. Honestly, when I was making this list for this year, there was games when I was looking the games up. There was games that I looked at them right away, and I knew right away that it was going to be a mention. Like, you could look at it and you're like, you're good, but not that great. I had God of War, Red Dead, and Odyssey for a moment on the side as like, which one do I choose? And then obviously Odyssey won. Like, it was a very, very quick deliberation, but why Wreckfest? You'll see when we get there. Remember, this is my personal favorites. God of War was an amazing experience. It was a great story. It was a great change of mythologies. They did it in a really, really cool way. Dad of War, boy. My favorite thing about it, and I think Kev was the one that initially pointed this out to me. I can't remember where I heard it. But it's basically the entire game is shot in the style of one camera shot. Because it never like shifts into a cutscene. It always transitions, the camera carries away from his shoulder into whatever it needs to go, and it stays in the area. Like it's a really cool thing, and if you watch like 10, 15 minutes of the game, you'll see exactly what I'm saying, and it's so cool. But the combat was a lot of fun. I loved the new weapons that they brought in, the new powers. Probably didn't put like Beat Saber, Spider-Man, or Detroit. This was probably the hardest year of what to do, and again, my stipulation was personal feelings towards these games. Like, there were so many great games that if I was just going on greatness and, whatever. But, like, these are the ones that really, really stuck out to me. We kind of discussed my feelings on Red Dead earlier. It took the things that I didn't like about the first Red Dead and did them better. It's another one, not as much as Odyssey, but it was another game that made me want to experience the side stories, because the side stories in Red Dead 2 felt like they got just as much attention as the core story did for the entire game. And it really hooks you in to the side characters. So I loved the way that it made it feel like such an ensemble game. That it wasn't just, you're Arthur and these are your peeps. Like, every person had their, their story, their backing, their voice, their themselves. And it was really cool to get that full experience like that. I got so hooked on the story that I saw so many playthroughs, never played it myself. You did. I remember talking to you about how much you had seen it, and like I feel like you would still play the shit out of this game if you ever get your hands on it. Celeste is probably one of the toughest games I've ever played. The subject matter that it deals with is really well done. That was what drew me into the game at first, hearing what it dealt with and how it dealt with it. Because it's not only speaking about her and her story in the game. I like the way that they kind of use the toughness of the game to like speak to the player too. But it's a really great game. Even if you take out the story, like the gameplay itself is just so fluid. And like literally every single screen is just so intricately thought out and placed, and like you get to those later levels and you need like that perfect movement to get where you need to go, and it's so frustrating, but at the same time like Dead Cell's kind of the same thing. It's tough, but I like the story that they managed to weave into it, which is weird to say about like a roguelike, because, it's not really a narrative game. But the combat is so much fun in Dead Cells. The platforming is a lot of fun. It's all really well done. And then you look into the stuff of like the intricacies of like how they worked things to kind of like help you. Kev showed me this as well. There's basically, I can't remember the name of it, but there's basically a system that they put into place in Dead Cells that kind of detects like when you meant to jump. So like if you time your jump just a couple of frames too late and you step over the ledge where you should have fallen to death, the game is basically like, oh, you meant to jump here. and it lets you jump still. So like it's weird because it's on the surface you look at it and it's a game that's trying to, slap you in the face with the big duder. But then you hear stuff like that and you're like, you're trying to help me too? What is this? To answer Kevin's question now, Wreckfest for me, it's definitely a curveball. It's probably something that no one's ever going to mention. When I was a kid, the one less about bullshit death and more about dying in glorious combat. Exactly. They wanted you to fight it out the way a hero would, not the way a fucking noob would. No, when I was a kid, the one PS1 game that I would play all the time was Destruction Derby 2. And it's a thing that I always try to do with my games, and I feel like this is something that everybody does. Is the stuff that you grow up playing that you remember loving the most. You want that by today's standards, and I could never get that kind of racing, crashing, destroy them all feeling as well done from a game as I had gotten from Destruction Derby until Wreckfest. It took those old games and kind of recreated that essence and brought in some ridiculousness to it. But obviously the beauty of modern day graphics. And it's like the very first career race that you can do is a fucking demolition derby on lawnmowers. And it's ridiculous. It's all kinds of ridiculous. I gave Leon the controller. And like when you hit people, there's like insta ragdoll flying 15 feet off of the lawnmower when you get hit or when you hit somebody else. And it's so over the top and so ridiculous. But the game as a whole feels smooth. It's crisp. It's fun. And again, like I said, it's my personal feelings. I'm not trying to sell anybody on getting Wreckfest or, appreciate it more. I'm probably one of only a few people that'll ever really, really mention and sink my teeth into Wreckfest. But it's a really great game. And if you ever are looking for a racing experience with, beating face, that is definitely the way to go with Wreckfest. So, all right, we are here. I guess it's kind of fitting that we technically, for me in my time zone, get to finish this on New Year's Eve now because it's almost 2 a.m. We are here at 2019. Would anybody, for the last final time of the night, like to try to guess my 2019 favorite game of the year? Not Sekiro, but it is a mention. Not Control, but again, it's a mention. Think back closer to the launch time of Sekiro. It's a game that Millie would not watch. Wait, hold on. You guys ready for a hint that's going to slap you in the face? Death. Nope, not Death. I actually haven't even gotten Death. I've only watched Death Stranding a little bit. Not Outlast. The Resident Evil 2 remake. some freaking horror game that I would hate. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. Hold on. I didn't do the thing. Hold on. Remake, yes. But at the same time, hold on. So, like, did you really? Watch that between my fingers. That's the Millie I know. That's the Millie I know. When you think about how they did the remake of Resident Evil 2 and how the original Resident Evil 2, I call bullshit on your face. When you think about the remake and you think about the original, it's a completely different game. You can't say that they are identical. Veto your face holes. Listen, okay? They completely rebuilt the fucking game. It's not the same thing. We need a 2/3 vote. You need a slap in the face, Swell. If you guys want to call bullshit, go ahead. I don't care. But, yeah, but I don't care. I don't care if you want to justify it with the years old. That's fine. But, okay. Look at, granted it wasn't a 21-year difference, but okay, hold on. Let's talk here for a minute, okay? Hold on. Let's talk for a second. Let's see. When you talk about the fact that when they redid the original Resident Evil into the remake of Resident Evil for the GameCube, granted it was only like a 6-year difference, they kept it with the still same isometric view. So, to me, it's not the same. It's not the same as just flashing a, slightly better quality over top of it. Again, if you want to call bullshit on my choice, fine. Call bullshit. I'm not saying just POV. You told me you wouldn't pick any remakes. Listen. Fine. If you wanna argue like that, fine. Would you like me to quickly amend my 2019 choice? Would you like me to quickly amend it? I still say this is going to be my favorite game of the year, no matter what. No, it's fine. No, you're gonna cry about it. You're gonna cry about it. It's okay. I can already see and feel the butt hurt. It's okay. Let me guess something. I wouldn't have guessed because there's some remakes. Listen, it's okay. That's what I'm trying to explain. That to me, you don't have to argue with me. But to me, this isn't what I consider the remakes and the remasters that I had in mind when I said that. Okay? Okay? It is not the same game. It is a completely different game. And it's fucking perfect, and it's beautiful, and it's amazing. And I named my son after the main character, so suck a dick. No, I loved how they completely changed it, though. And they did a really good job of it. You can say the word remake, but that doesn't mean whatever. Shut your face holes. All right? Just shush. I made my choice, okay? I mean, if you want me to swap it out, I can go with Ring Fit Adventure, or I can throw down. I don't know. What do you want to throw down? Feel debated. All right, listen. You want to talk? You want to talk for a minute? Okay. Hold on. Hold your fucking face. Okay? If I were forced, even though he says he's not going to do it, if I were forced to make a quick audible on the fly and recast my vote, I would put. Boneworks. Yeah, the VR title that I'm not getting yet. Trine 4. Trine 4 was so good, though. With Control. Honestly, if you want me to, here, we'll redo this, okay? Okay? If you wanted me to amend my decision, I would go with Control. If I had to replace Resident Evil 2, I would go with Control. I am a huge, huge sucker for Remedy. I love every game that they have done. And I am a huge fan of Alan Wake. And I personally feel ripped off that Alan Wake never got a proper sequel other than its bullshit American Nightmare, which was okay, but it could have been so much better. The fact that they're basically tying this in with Alan Wake gives me hope for an Alan Wake 2. But I like that they basically took the essence of Dark Souls with the Metroidvania, control point thing. Like, not even like the super toughness. Like, it's still tough in ways, but not in a Souls way. And they did such a great job with it. I loved that you basically have the same gun and can just give it different forms. It was really, really cool and really unique to use. Pick Control for the customization, story of the character. The fact that this is the first game to really hammer home art. Yeah. Like, this game was just excellent all across the board. Like, I experienced the framing issues with it at times. Kev, I know you did too. Even with the technical mishaps on early release and stuff. Such an amazing game. Ati and the music's from... Exactly. Ati was clutch. It was so fun. Tenchi has been playing it in the RTX. Oh, I know. I've lurked on him a few times. And this is the only time he's not the most beautiful thing on that screen. I will say that. But no, this was another game that, like, it really made me want to hit all the exploration and do all of the things. It's something we'll come back to when the Alan Wake DLC comes out. So expect this to come back. But again, I'm a huge Remedy fan. I'm a huge Alan Wake fan. I'm a horror fan. I'm a Supernatural fan. So this just kind of took one of my favorite game studios and combined some of my favorite elements of things. And it delivered. It was a great, great package. The maze sequence was so much fun with the music. It was so good. However, this now raises the issue of what thing would replace Control in my honorable mentions. And if I had to pick something, hold on. Can't remember if I had something else on my list. Nope, I didn't. Um, if I had to pick something else, yep, Yoshi's Crafted World. I was gonna say that, but I was like, I can't remember if I had anything else in my my quick list. But Yoshi's Crafted World was a lot of fun. It makes me want to go back and do Woolly World. I've never played Woolly World, and I really want to now. So, do they have to be released on the said year? My rule was initial release on the year. So like, there's been like complete editions of Witcher 3, but I would have gone with the year that Witcher 3 released. So, I'm not gonna lie, I thought about it. I was like, but I only played it that one night. So, all right, hold on. The red in this area is hurting my eyes. That was my one complaint of Control, was all the red. It hurt a lot. But yeah, no, my rule of game choice was, yeah, it didn't matter when I played it. Like, go back to the fucking 2014 slide. I played Octodad this year. So, you know, like I said, it was release year. Again, my other rule going into this, as Kevin has, thrust up my asshole in the last minute, was no remakes and no remasters. I still stand by what I said, that the Resident Evil 2 released this year is far, far, far different than the Resident Evil 2 released years ago. But if that is not good enough, then again, Control is my game for this year. You guys saw me play pretty much everything on this list except Sekiro. I've said with my dips into the From games, might have had a list for the 10 years. I mean, we could still discuss this. The Nameless Hunter, thank you for the host. How are you doing? You what? I what? What did I do? The only one you haven't finished here. Yeah, Sekiro is the only one I haven't finished. I will say that exactly. Sure. I don't know where we are, but cool. How you doing tonight? Sekiro was the game that made me want to try the From games. They'd always been stuff that I'd seen, and I just didn't feel like dealing with the copious amounts of personal rage. 10 a.m. here. Goddamn, it's 2 a.m. here, and I'm fucking exhausted, and I'm glad we're finally down to the last year on this podcast list, because holy shit, I did not expect this one to go 3 hours again. But the setting and the style of Sekiro was the thing that made me go, okay, I need to get into these From games, and I need to get into them now. I can't remember if I got Sekiro on release day, but I got it very close to it, and I loved it. And from there is what made me tiptoe back into the other From games, and I basically forced myself to get through a couple of bosses in each From game, and basically made myself like them, and I did. But it's all because of Sekiro. Doesn't expect 60 games to go 3 hours. Well, I didn't know how active this would be. I know I'm usually low down on the list of people that gets viewers, and it's a new podcast thing. I'm finding my flow with it. I didn't know. I honestly, that's what I expected. I expected a couple of minutes for like the game of the year game, and then like a quick 1 or 2 sentence slap with the other ones. But hey, it's been fun. I'm not complaining that this took 3 hours. I've been having fun this entire time, and if they're all 3 hours, fuck it, let's do it. I don't even know where to go. Devil May Cry 5 was great. It was cool getting through all those games right before it too. But 5 was a lot of fun. Um, I liked the different characters and getting to see different angles of the story through different people and the different fighting styles. That was my one concern with that game when I learned that we were going to be bouncing around playing different people, was how they would handle it. And they did a better job than they did with I think it was 3, when you play through half with Nero and the other half with Dante. That was such a drastic shift going from one character to the other, but they did a better job with it in 5. Favorite game of the decade has to be Call of Duty Black Ops 2. That is not the first time that game has gotten mentioned tonight. That one got mentioned when we were talking about the 2010 games. So you were not the first person to drop that name in here. But yeah, I loved 5. I loved all the characters. I mean, Dante's got that, like, sarcastic sass to him, and they did it so well through 5, and it was a great experience. Firewatch was not called out. Firewatch is one that I have not played, that is on my list of things to play at some point. Gears 5, I honestly, I loved it. I liked that they tried to make it a little open. I felt like they didn't really try to convince you to do the open stuff with 5, but having the skiff to surf around on the sand with was so much fun. It was great seeing all the old stuff, going back to the old fucking factory from Yep, we brought up God of War. We talked God of War. But getting to go down memory lane in Gears 5 was fun. Gears 5 did really great. I want to go back and play the story again at some point. It was a fun game. It's still probably not my favorite one in the whole franchise. I'd probably say 3 was my favorite in that whole series, but 5 was fun. I would play it again. And then last but not least, My Friend Pedro is probably the most beautiful shoot 'em up platformer that I have ever played. It is a short game. It's an amazing game. And if you have not experienced it, you need to. It's one of those things that, like, you see a game title with a gun and a banana, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And then you see some gameplay, and you're like, okay. And then you play it, and you're like, holy shit. It's a very fun game. I got lost in it. It's a game that I would accidentally delete my save file on just so I had to start all over again. Yep, GTA 5 came out. What I ended up doing, Hunter, was I went through every year and I picked my favorite game from that year and 5 honorable mentions. So we did every year back to 2010. So we got some things on here. And Kev has been yelling at me all night for talking about 60 games, but hey, in the end, it is a fucking hell of a decade for gaming. And even those 60 games, like, wasn't enough to really capture how great of games that we got to see over the last 10 years. And I know I could easily come up with 60 more. And I'm sure you guys could too. Am I going to put the list anywhere? I wasn't thinking about it, but if you would like me to, I can. I can throw something together on GIMP, or I can just put a text only list somewhere in one of the channels. I was 13 when this decade began. Big boy now. Yeah, we're not gonna throw my name and my age out there. That's fine. We don't gotta talk about that. Right there with you, Millie. We're not gonna talk about that though. Shut up, Swow. I will ban you. Fuck you guys. Shut up, Swow. I'm gonna ban you. I'll fucking ban you. If I had to pick, restricted to the games that I talked about tonight, my game of the decade would be Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Because, again, everything that I said about it still rings true. It's the only game that really perfectly touched every nerve for me, with story, with exploration, with side stories, combat. Wasn't born when this decade began. Listen, that's a lie. You got some hella internet skills, though, for a single-digit child. Even just shoot me to listen to him. Yeah, I can do that. I can actually I have the individual image files for all the slides that I did, all of these slides. I can upload these into the podcast channel in the Discord if you would like. So that way you can see every single year. Because there is an honestly informed channel in the Discord. Which, by the way, come join us. I got you, Hunter. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to ever have to see that mistake. Until I switch scenes and go to the chat capture. Like this. I feel like you're saying Black Flag to get the rise out of me. Baba is you. I haven't played it yet. I need to play it. I have I'm slightly upset. But my next time that I'm going to have money in the sense of being able to pick some things up, and I get that money on the 2nd when the sale on Steam ends. So it's basically hoping I wake up early enough that morning that the sale is still active and I can grab a couple of things. Next year, yeah, I know. I'm not going to have any money until next year. I'm fucking broke. This sucks. God, guys. Black Flag has a special place in my heart. Again, I told you, I said it before. I could make an entire episode of this podcast probably about why I don't like Black Flag. Maybe we will. Maybe we will one of these times. Who knows? Broke for the rest of the decade. What you gonna do? Just gonna cry. Just gonna cry. Just gonna cry. And cry some more. But yeah, what about you guys? If you guys had to pick one game from the last 10 years, what would it be? What would your one game from the 10s be? I'm just gonna start dropping things in chat. Mass Effect 2? Okay. Don't you come to the closet and steal the cookie crumbs. Did Jamie leave crumbs again? That bastard. The damn Brit. WoW is too old. WoW is a little old. Just a little bit. We're gonna drop a we'll do a fat 1,000 to end the night. Cause y'all been fun. It's been a good night. Stole this answer from someone else but Dark Souls. That's okay. It just makes it. Listen. I'm watching you. Okay? I'm watching you. It was up there. But here's the Discord link again. You can stalk me in these places. And, yeah. Have them all and love them equally. That's not how we play this game. Papers, Please. Oh, I've heard about that game. Hold on. I gotta look this thing up really quick. I've heard of it. Like, I've heard the name, but I can't picture anything. Hold on. We gotta scope this one really quick. Interesting. I will add that to the list of things that I'll try to grab on Thursday when I have money. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out for our second podcast episode. Cannot say Red Dead Redemption 2 because I haven't played it. Honestly, Millie, I'll give that one to you. You haven't played it, but Jesus Christ, did you watch it enough? That's fine. You were here enough. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. Yeah, exactly. she's played it vicariously quite a few times, so I think we can collectively agree that Millie has played Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, a few times. Might as well have 5 playthroughs now. Precisely. She can only quote the end scene by heart with her eyes closed. Every time. That's all. But thanks for tuning in to the podcast. This has been fun to do. Again, if you are in the Discord, if you're not in the Discord, join. We're fun people and we're pretty. Some of us have nice butts, but other ones don't. It's okay. You don't have to talk to the ones that don't. But if you are in the Discord, up in the top group of channels, is a channel for the Honestly Informed podcast. If you guys ever have any suggestions for things you would like me to do on this podcast, throw them in there. I don't have a set schedule of how often I'm going to do these. It's more as material becomes available enough to justify doing it. Next podcast, top favorite movies of the decade. I mean, if y'all want me to drift outside of gaming for an episode, we could do that. Throw that in the Discord channel. We can chalk that up on the board of options. So, buy it on EGS. You can save mad dollars, or through the Rocket Star Launcher. Wait, for Red Dead 2. Should I double the price of my cart and add Red Dead Redemption 2? You could probably get it cheaper on PS4. So, just throwing that out there for you. And then you can play with me and Kevin. Because Kev's trying to get me back into playing that so I can do the online. So, we need to have the ones we are looking forward to the most for the next decade. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the theme for the podcast going forward. That's like the main theme I want to do with this is like talk about, closely upcoming games. Like we did the first episode, we covered everything from the Game Awards that got announced. So like from there, I would love to break it down to like 5-6 games that are coming out within like the next month and go from there. Don't play anything on that anymore. Bitch, you about to? You about to? Tomorrow night. Tonight, technically, I guess. New Year's Eve stream. What we would love to see released within the next 5 years or so. Like fucking like nostalgia hits, like if you could force them to make one more game in whatever series. Fucking, I can tell you right now, top of that list for me would be Splinter Cell. I want another goddamn Splinter Cell game. Have the money to buy the game, but do I want to? Wait, which game are we talking about? Which game are we trying to convince you to buy? Make one more sequel. We could do that. Throw that in the channel too. Throw that in there so I don't forget. Cause it's almost 2:30 now. I'm not gonna remember all this shit. I apologize. Already enough games to keep me busy until my next money comes by. I know those feels. I have a whole fucking room. And then a whole digital Steam library. And I still go buying more shit. Red Dead Redemption 2. It's worth it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to try to like twist your arm into buying it right now and adding pressure. But if and when you ever do, you will be extremely happy with your decision. It is, yes. It is an experience exactly like Kevin just said. 20 games I haven't even touched yet. You want to talk? I could probably, yeah. Yeah. There we go. More than 20. You're getting closer to the truth. We're going to try to go live a little bit earlier, kind of. Going to try to go live around 8 p.m. Eastern, maybe 9 p.m. at the latest. Janelle's going to be around. She's going to be on her laptop sitting in that blue chair behind me. We're going to we have a few options of a game or games to choose from to play. So we're going to judge it off of who is here when we start up and what those people would like to play. But the shopping list of games that we're going to get to choose from is going to be Golf with Your Friends, Uno, Hand Simulator, or we're going to be picking up one of the Jackbox party games. Probably 4 or 5. So if I'm here, no spoopiness. Wait, when was what? What? Ah, shit. We got a stream baby with Hunter. This is tomorrow night. This is gonna be our New Year's stream. The plan is, like I said, we're gonna fire up. We're gonna chill and chat for a little bit and see who's here when we kick off the stream, and see who wants to play what. Again, we're gonna aim to go live around like 8 p.m. Eastern. Which is GMT -5 for those of you that need to do the quick maths. I'm pretty sure it's -5. If it's not, you can, I don't know. But yeah, well, like I said, we'll see who's here. We'll see who wants to play what. We'll figure out some way of watching the ball drop without getting into any legal trouble. And then through the night, we're going to have a very small sub-goal. It's funny because this idea came up as something that was intended to be like, laugh at her because she's going to be really bad. But then over the last couple of days, she's really gotten into it. And it's going to be hysterical either way. But we're going to have a small sub-goal because after midnight, we're going to play Fortnite for a little bit. And we're going to have a sub-goal that if we meet the small sub-goal, Janelle is going to play a few games with us before she goes to bed. But, again, she's been having fun playing Fortnite the last couple of nights, so. Bootleg ball drop just a PNG. I mean, we could do that, too. I mean, if you want what I can do, is we'll get some sort of like ball image and I'll just keep it up here on the top of the stream like I have the trailer capture right now. And then once it hits midnight, I'll just, I'll start slowly dragging it down the screen. How's that? You guys okay with something cheesy like that? But yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow night. Like I said, we're going to aim to start somewhere between 8 and 9. Right? Isn't that some classy ass ball dropping right there? I got you guys covered. Quality content right here. Every night of the week except Saturday, ideally around 10 p.m. Eastern, but sometimes not till 10:30. But if you show up in chat at 10, I guarantee you'll get at least 2 messages from Kevin complaining that I'm late. So, again, I'm not going into any sort of details on it. There is a serious-ish reason why I was late tonight. So, Kev, don't push that button or I'm going to fucking ban you for the night tomorrow. Isn't that a sub-only perk? What? To yell at me for being late? The Kev whine guaranteed. I mean, Kev always whines. Let's be real here. And at me all the time, he finds everything to complain about with me. So it's what we do. But we love each other, so we're good. Honestly, Kev just likes yelling that I'm late and just being very astute with that fact. But I didn't like it tonight because it was a serious reason. Honestly, tomorrow night, the going live time is really going to be dependent on my stepson. And because he's obviously going to want to try to stay up for the ball drop, which is going to be very dependent on his behavior. So we'll see. I bring the cheese, Kev brings the wine. We have catering. Then there we go. Janelle's gonna have shrimp, so y'all good. You got food, you got drink. I'm good to go. The hell is this ball drop? It's the Times Square thing to ring in the new year. Can I Uno with your son? My son or my stepson? Are you asking to Uno with Leon or with Zechariah? Because with Leon, I don't know if he would grasp it well enough. I think he would just start clicking shit, and you'd probably be a bully and beat him, and then I'd have to ban you. Obviously, both. I mean, Leon does try to steal my shit, so it's the new year in 13 and a half hours. I mean, it's a couple more hours for me. All of the above. That honestly, that would fall under behavior and also / your availability. No, Leon's sleeping right now. Leon's not gonna help you. Leon doesn't even help me half the time. I'm gonna be honest. I tell him to come help me with random shit, and he's like, no, and he runs away. So yeah, you I don't know. You might get it. You're not dad. So. 20. Thank you for doing the math. I'm getting brain dead right now. Change your name to Ashley. Well played. Yeah. So math's well. Oh wait, 21 and a half. You didn't carry the one. Swell. But hey, I'm tired and I didn't even catch it. And math tends to be my thing more often than it's not. So, good shit, boys. It's good night. But yeah, we'll be going live, like I said, around ideally 8 p.m. Eastern, at the latest 9. If we go live around 8. I'll probably try to get like 2 games off of that list that I was mentioning. Otherwise, if it goes